Totes Recall.
Ooh, welcome to Totes Recall, the podcast where we talk about a movie we can't remember very well. Push pause on that recording. Watch the movie while eating 2 pizzas and 2 salads. Thank you, patrons. Come back for a second half of the podcast talking again about the very same movie, now with fresh knowledge of it. In regards to how it holds up in this day and age, were our memories right or wrong, etc., etc. My name is Dan.
This is Molly.
I'm also Dan.
And I'm Beth.
And our movie this very special episode is...
What's special about it?
Oh, it's Spooktober.
Oh!
Creep!
Oh!
That's
Blue. Mommy noise. What was that?
It's a monster.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
I'm under your bed.
Oh,
The
no.
birds.
Oh, the birds.
The birds.
They're not going to
now,
be under your bed.
Is that the band? No, I'm just kidding.
What?
I get it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, wait. We don't charge us for that.
The Wrens. That's a bird-based band.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wren's a bird?
No, we know that.
Oh, the Wrens is a band.
Okay.
I feel like the fastest to derail award would probably come to me. I apologize to our listeners. I know we can talk about the film The Birds.
Oh, yes. Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes.
Alfred.
Alfred. Yeah.
Hitchcock, another name for a rooster. Also a bird.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Think about that.
I'm thinking about it.
A movie I have not seen,
Whoa.
Whoa.
but am eager to view.
I've seen it.
I've seen it.
I have also seen it.
This is
Wow.
not a Hitchcock affy.
Oh, I
No.
see.
Oh.
There's like 3 of them on there. Probably too many Hitchcocks on the list, in my opinion.
Well,
Wow.
But they didn't ask me.
no, they didn't.
You know what? I think we should ask you to do a pre-call
Oh,
Oh.
absolutely appropriate.
before we give away all the very insightful information
That we
definitely
all
know
definitely
we've
have, for sure.
Totally retained
Yep.
and can share.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. Let's take a moment to support our unions in this Union Strong pre-call that starts. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Wow. Clock right there.
And
Shut up. I got a timer set on my watch before. Go.
Oh, we open on average day in the life of America, but it's black and white. And there's a family, husband and wife, and they're making bacon in the kitchen.
okay.
That's
Great.
not a euphemism.
Okay, got it.
Then maybe there's a bunch of crows on a line and they're like staring at people and like, that's weird that the crows are staring at us. It's fine. Man goes to work. While
30 seconds.
Big office. While he's at big office, birds run into the window. And it's like, that's weird. And then things get weirder. And then the titular birds go nuts and are just attacking people. Man's got to get home from office and wife's there fighting roosters and turkeys and whatnot. And there's an eagle.
10 seconds.
And in the end, they don't know what's going on. There's a scientist on the radio. But they kill a lot of birds and a lot of people die. But the husband and wife are okay.
Time.
Wow.
Wow.
What a pre-call.
That actually might be the plot of the movie. I don't remember.
I mean, there's definitely a woman,
Yeah.
and she definitely gets attacked by birds.
Yeah.
Tippi Hedren.
Okay.
Here's what I remember about this movie. I went to go see it at one of those movies in the park. And I think I had seen it once before then, but I hadn't, what a surprise, didn't remember a lot about it. And so I went to the park to watch it with some coworkers. And one of my coworkers was like, there is so much exposition in this movie. And I was like, oh, I guess there probably is. And the entire time, it's like directions. It's like real tedious for, I would say, 2/3 of the movie in terms of like things happening. And then the birds come and it gets very scary very quickly. And she's in a phone booth at one point. It's just awful. And it did freak me out a little bit.
Were there birds in the park?
Probably.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like noticeably?
No,
see those
they
birds?
didn't.
I
Yeah,
feel like
if there
that would
had
make
been
for a
a
4D experience.
It
if there
would.
had been like a murder of crows that
Yeah.
descended, I think we all would have flipped. But I will say, the thing that I think is so interesting about this is I think birds are a little bit scary.
Yeah.
There is something primal about like that dinosaur-like intensity.
Yeah. And they're just weird,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And so the idea of, I mean, honestly, you could do a movie called The Kittens and have like 10,000 kittens coming at you. That'd be scary too.
Right.
I don't know about that.
I mean, they
They're
could bite you.
Pretty cute.
They'd
A
be so
lot of
cute.
that
Those
is
little
can
needle
fly,
teeth.
though. They can get you anywhere. if
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
fly.
That's fair.
They got those sharp beaks and claws.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they don't care about you.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where like we spend so much of our experience with birds in modern times are like mostly little guys, right? Who can just kind of like integrate themselves into modern human infrastructure. And so you kind of forget like, oh, there are birds that could just like rip your face off
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
there real easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like without a second thought, just like one swoop, and you get like just
No face.
sliced across the face.
I heard about, okay, where did I hear this? Is this a joke someone made? That like eagles will swoop at bald men because they think they're eggs or something like that?
I've
Is
never
that-
heard
I've
that.
never
heard
heard that.
That sounds like
Is
a
that
joke.
something your parents told you?
I don't know. Where did I hear that? I'll look it up.
That sounds
like,
like
is that a
someone
true
like
fact?
bullied a bald man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I better cover that up.
eagles.
the eagles are gonna
Like,
come
is it
snatch
a
that egg.
sketch I saw?
That's why they
or
call
is
it a bald
real?
eagle. Am I right?
Yeah, they're
Oh.
jealous.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. Eagles are terrifying because they have huge talons.
They do. And apparently, so the males will fight for territory,
Yeah.
and it's possible for them to actually get entangled with each other.
Mm.
Because I read this newspaper article about, I don't think a park ranger or some other expert who would be called out because people would be like, there are two bald eagles who are furiously fighting and intertwined with each other and cannot disentangle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his specialty,
Oh.
wow.
was figuring out how to safely untangle eagles.
The eagle untangler.
Yeah.
I saw a couple hawks fighting once.
Ooh.
That was cool. They didn't get tangled though.
Ooh, I saw one time a hawk was chasing a little bird, and the little bird dove down right in front of a moving car and then accelerated upward.
Dope.
And the hawk didn't get out of the way of the car and got hit.
Oh,
dang.
no.
Smart.
That's a smart little bird. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Strategy.
so do that. If you're a small bird
Yeah.
and there's a hawk chasing you, look for a car.
Yeah. True totes heads, or maybe patrons, I don't remember where I said this aloud, will recall that I was mad at some bald eagles that were nesting near my house recently because they were never around when my wife was around, and they had disappeared for a while. But
Are they back?
one of them,
Eagle update.
Eagle update, one of them
Caw-caw,
keeps
caw-caw.
showing up in the early mornings. I don't know. One time I looked up, I let the dogs out in the morning, and it was just like grabbing sticks and shoving them into the
Thank
little
you.
nest pile. And then most of the time it's just like sitting there and being intense.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We had more local bird references. We had a parent-child turkey pair
Oh.
roam in our neighborhood.
Turkeys are terrifying.
Love an urban turkey. I'm
Oh,
sure
I
we've
do
talked about
not.
this
We
before,
have
how much I love
talked
an
about
urban
it. Listen.
turkey.
They're very funny.
Those turkeys, at least in my neighborhood, will stare down a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I love them. I respect their chutzpah.
You have to respect them.
The cars will be backing up for miles
Yeah.
with people who don't understand what's going on,
Yeah.
honking.
Yeah.
And then you can just see the timid driver just praying, please just get a little bit out of the way so I can go around you. Because nobody wants to run over the turkey.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's gross and
So it's
terrible.
not like actually doing anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not like a deer when it's not like when you're driving in like a deer country and they just sometimes are just dumb and
Dart
lose their
out.
minds and just run out in front of your car and
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it. They're literally the turkey's usually just kind of standing there.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
just stop traffic for miles. And people get so upset.
Yeah.
It's very hard to watch.
Do you think there will be turkeys in this movie?
No.
No.
I think they're all fairly small birds. They're not little birds. They're not like chickadees.
But they're
I can picture a lot of crows.
yeah.
Are they all crows?
No, I think there's gulls.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah,
seems like
because
gulls.
it's like on an island or
Or
something.
it's at
right?
least coastal for sure.
Nantucket. I don't know.
I feel like the
I was
birds.
gonna say Northwest,
Yeah.
Seattle ish.
Wait.
Are you thinking of North by Northwest?
Could be. I have seen that. But isn't
Yeah.
Is that in that
I thought
Rushmore?
this was East Coast. I thought it was like Maine, because there's
Oh.
a lot of people with my memory, which is not great. Is that there are a bunch of people with like Maine-like accents or Massachusetts-like accents, some kind of Northeast.
I also thought
Giving
it
a
was
lot of directions.
Northeast.
England.
So
This is written by as a short story by Daphne du Maurier,
It's a great short
Oh,
story.
which
yeah.
I have not read, but I've read other stories by her, and they're good.
This one is also good. I don't think this is in the movie, but the book or the short story has a very compelling image of a character like looking out to sea and the like motion of the waves seeming very off, and like he's just trying to figure out like what's so like why the sea looks so weird today, and then he realizes it's because it's entirely covered by gulls.
Wow.
Like it's just they've covered the entire surface of the water that he could see for like
Wow.
miles.
It's a lot of gulls.
A lot of
Terrifying.
gulls.
if I am remembering this correctly, the most terrifying scene is like in a park. In my memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she has to like walk through this park that's like covered in birds.
Yeah.
And that's before they attack.
It's fucked.
Right? It's just, is that what it like starts to get
Builds
like,
the tension. Yeah.
there's just like a lot of birds there all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And then they attack.
I don't remember.
Do the birds look shitty?
No. No.
Most of the time, no. Because I
Okay.
think a lot of times it's like, I think a lot of times he uses like, like a screen, like they do when they drive cars, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it's just like they have a car in front of a screen. I think there's a lot of that where like the actors are in front of a screen so there can be a lot of birds just like flying around. And then there's some, physical bird happening sometimes. I feel like there's one scene where like it does kind of look like they're just like throwing Muppets at her.
I'm really enjoying imagining there's a couple people with like bird puppets on fishing rods right out of frame,
Sure.
and just like flailing them
Or
around.
just like a bucket,
Except it's
of,
more like-
a bucket of birds that they have to just like toss at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost more like darts, though.
Yeah.
Like there's a
They're
real
coming at her.
force behind them. And there's, in my mind, there's a scene maybe in a home in an attic because you think that she'll be safe when she gets
End of the
inside.
movie. Yeah.
The birds get in.
Oh yeah.
Break through
Yikes.
the glass.
Yikes.
And is there like a little radio report at the end that kind of explains it?
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh, does she die?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Birds get in.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you hear the radio and it's like it was just something like in the air caused them to do this, or like
Yeah.
some sort of like boat noise or something.
Yeah.
Right? It was
That's the moral of the story
There's
is
like
shut off your boats.
some kind of like way that it explains it. Once again, a lot of exposition that kind of just explains what happens.
Yeah.
Because it's so localized. It's just this one town. It's
Seaside
not,
town. It came out in black and white times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 59. Nice.
Nice. The sex number.
No, it's
Oh boy. I'll say 60.
I'll say 54.
I'll say 62. I'm also going to bet it's colorized.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
wow,
whoa.
really?
What?
Yeah, dog.
Wow, I felt pretty good about black and white.
I did too.
Well,
But you looked at the
hot
gifs
bets.
today.
Hot bets. Put it down. Put down my hot bet.
I've got Tippy, Hedron, and colorized.
Nice.
That's it. I'll put East Coast.
Thank you.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Do we want to make bets on what kinds of birds are going to be
Yes,
there?
absolutely.
I think
Yes.
it's skulls.
Gulls.
You think it's all gulls?
No,
Gulls. We
there's-
said crows.
there's crows.
Crows for sure.
Skulls and boys.
Molly's bringing it this
Christ.
episode. I'm really enjoying what you're laying down. Birds of a feather, huh?
Oh.
Okay.
I think there's going to be, ooh. I bet there's going to be like a single like pet bird that freaks the fuck out.
Like a
Like
parrot.
a little parakeet or something.
Yeah, because a parrot would warn you and explain what's happening.
Yeah.
The boat noise is driving me crazy.
That's like
Birds
little,
to kill. Lock your doors. Lock your doors. Sparrows.
I was going
Sure.
to guess sparrows. Yeah.
I love it.
They need a little bird.
yeah.
I feel like there's got to be at least one big bird,
Oh, okay.
like a
Like a big ass goose.
Like a big old goose.
Goose is good. They're mean anyway.
And
They are.
They're so-
and they
They
can
don't
be
need any
real
help.
fatzos. So it
Yeah.
could be. Listen,
I got attacked by a goose once in Hawaii.
Oh,
Have you told that?
That hurts.
Yeah. It was technically a nene, which is a Hawaiian goose.
did you like get its head smashed into you, or what did it do?
Yeah, I was a little tiny baby
Mm-hmm.
at the zoo. They had a nene in a cage, and I got rolled very close to it, and the goose just
No.
Came through
This
the-
long little gooseneck.
came through the bill, just pecked me right in the forehead.
Oh my
What
gosh.
a dick.
Yeah, I was maybe like 1, 2, something like that.
I was on a Girl Scout trip and a bunch of geese started coming after us, or maybe they're swans. No, I think they were geese. And we were like, ha ha ha. And then one attacked
Yeah.
one of the Girl Scout friends. And we were all so shocked. But it really hurt her. Like she was in a lot of pain, but we didn't go to the emergency room
Yeah.
because that was the kind of decade it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Rub some dirt in it, kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like about this story is that, I mean, we touched on this a little bit, is like birds are sort of like, they almost are like the hidden threats, right? Because you always just think of them as like, oh, these pretty things flitting around. But then, yeah, like as soon as like 4 geese hiss at you, if you get too close, you're just like, oh my God.
yeah.
Or like, I remember one time I was in the sculpture garden, local reference.
Wow.
And like,
They got a big bird there now.
they sure do. But there was just like you could see people like it was back before they remodeled it and like took away all the big shrubs.
Yeah.
And so like we were seeing people kind of entering through between the shrubs to the same place we were going. You could kind of see people every once in a while going like, oh, and kind of just like moving a little. So like you figure they're like, oh, there's like bugs or something. But then as you get close, like suddenly there's just this like little, I don't know what kind of bird, like a little finch or whatever, just kind of swooping down like around your head. And everyone's like, oh, Jesus. And then someone in front of us is just like, I think there must be a nest nearby.
Oh, that was probably so the red-winged blackbirds are very territorial.
Ah,
and
maybe.
have big time D energy when it comes to like
Big time D.
D
D
energy.
energy.
So this is different from big D energy. This
I
is
guess.
big
I don't
time
know.
D.
Big time D energy.
Because it's that they're being a D,
They're being
Yes.
a D.
not that they are having the energy of someone with a big D.
yeah, they
Got
are
it.
being a D and for a limited time because after nesting season is
Acting
over,
out.
they're back to being chill.
Yeah. I'm gonna just throw this out there. My
Yeah.
friend would just throw this into conversations all the time and sometimes still does. And he's not wrong. Like, just imagine how funny it would be if birds just had like external genitalia
Yeah.
just dangling,
Yeah, flapping around.
right? Just imagine like flying by.
I'm imagining
Just
it right now.
flying by,
Yeah.
soaring like they normally do, except there's just like a Frankenbeans just kind of wobbling.
Yeah.
I don't like this conversation.
We just
I'm
watched Pompoko with my family, which
What's
is
that?
a Studio Ghibli movie about tanukis
Okay.
who are trying to, classic Ghibli. They're trying to save the forest.
Of course.
Deforestation is happening. Humans are moving in. But the
Man
tanukis,
bad.
yeah, man bad. Tanukis, as you may know, if you see a tanuki sculpture, their balls are very
Oh, yes.
large and present. And in this movie,
Do you mean they're Buster Browns?
excuse me, yes, Buster
Okay.
Browns.
It is canon on this podcast. They are Buster Browns.
Beth, go edit this every time I say balls. Change it to Buster Browns, please.
Yeah, and change
You
mine.
go edit it.
Change mine to Birdster Browns when I was talking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
You both can learn how to edit and do this yourself. if
Frank
you'd
and
like.
B.
You can do your own
birds.
Buster Brown edit.
Listen, I know how to edit well enough where I could attempt to edit our podcast. I don't think you'd like the end result.
Anyway, the Tanuki of these use their Buster Browns prominently to shape change as parachutes. One of them turns them into a big mat that they all
Yes.
sit on.
In
They
the movie?
yeah, they
This
crush
rocks.
humans with it.
Oh my god, I need to see this movie now.
Yeah, to disrupt the humans, they get like violent. It's like violent eco-terrorism is happening for these Tanukis. They're like,
But with their scrotums.
yes, they expand their Buster Browns to cover like the windshield of a truck and drive it off the edge. I watched this with my
This
8-year-old.
rules.
We were
What?
losing our minds.
I need to see this movie. What is it called?
Pompoko.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's great. Would recommend. Yeah, J.K. Simmons in the dub. J.K. Simmons voices one of the Tanukis.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
JTT is one of the Tanukis.
Oh.
Jonathan
Okay.
Taylor Thomas?
Yeah.
attaboy.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we still have time to switch to Pompoko for our movie tonight.
Do we want to bet more birds? My sister got chased by a mockingjay once.
Whoa.
Put that on the list.
Yeah, why not? Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hungry Games.
I feel like we might get a blue jay or something. They got
Sure.
a nice little
Crest.
head.
Oh, blue jays
crest.
are jerks.
Yeah. Scrub jays even more so, I think.
What's a scrub jay?
It's a more West Coast bird.
Does it have like the cresty thing?
Yeah, they're not as cool looking as blue
Okay,
jays.
well.
You know, when I was a kid and I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, there was a migration pattern of birds. And like once a year, twice a year, whatever, you would look up in the sky and it would be it felt like a mile long of just a pack of birds flying across the sky. And I have never experienced that again as an adult. Now, part of that is I don't live in Memphis, Tennessee anymore.
Sure.
And probably I'm bigger, so maybe the amount of birds would seem smaller.
There's maybe
Maybe.
less birds now too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Bird bum you out.
Yeah.
It's all them cats.
You think it's the cat?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
cats
partly
are a big problem.
Really?
Outdoor
Yeah.
cats
Because
kill a lot
they
of birds.
kill for fun.
Yeah.
No.
And so they reduce the bird population.
How are people fighting these birds? They
I
get
think
like
they're just-
shotguns and stuff?
I think
or
they're
they
just
like,
kind of
so
swatting.
freaked
I
out
think
they're
they're
like
just swatting.
umbrellas, right? Someone's
Maybe.
got to have an umbrella. That's my bet.
That sounds like a
I
good
love
bet.
that
You should
bet.
write it down.
That's a great bet, especially if this is like the Northeast.
Does somebody try to shoot the birds?
I bet at some point someone does. A bird, at least.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like some dude would try.
Have to.
Yeah.
It's like some farmer be like, "Hey, get out of here."
Yeah, I don't know. I'll just be bold. I'll. That's a bet.
Shoot a gun?
Somebody shoots a gun at
Here's what
birds.
I really don't think this is going to happen, but I would love for someone to try to shoot the birds and then the birds take the gun and shoot the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
like a it's like a collective effort where like multiple birds like pick up the gun and then are like floating, like flying in midair and like
Shoot 'em back.
aiming
Like
and
Snow White, except
Yes.
yes.
Exactly.
There's got to be a scene where the birds figure out how to open a door, right? That feels like a
I
classic.
feel like
horror.
it's just a bunch of like
That's
I
Jurassic
feel like there's a
Park.
lot of just like intense like boom 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 like
Yeah.
they're just
They,
trying
like,
to
would
smash
peck
their way
down
in.
the door.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like they're relentless, and
Yeah.
there's so many of them that they're just like
It's like
knocking
zombies,
things down.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
It's
birds.
totally like
Yeah.
zombies.
Okay.
I feel like there's another man in the movie that she's like trying to get out of town with.
Okay.
Oh.
Famous man?
Oh, I mean, probably.
Oh, is this a morality play? Like,
Oh, like
is
they're
she
not
like,
married, and that's
maybe
why the
they're
birds
not
are mad.
married? No,
Oh.
that's not why the birds are
But,
mad.
like,
But like,
It
some
is
kind of
like
sin
subtextually that's why the
element.
birds are mad
Maybe.
because they be banging.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like something that
I'm
Hitchcock
feeling
would
bold.
do.
Let's write it down.
I love it.
What are you writing down?
Morality.
What am I
Morality.
writing? Morality.
And part of me is picturing them driving off into the sunset. Are they dead, or do they just get out of town?
She gets. I thought she died. Maybe she just gets. I don't think she dies. Maybe he drives out
Somebody
of town.
gets their eye,
Oh
poked
no!
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's gonna happen.
right?
Yeah.
Is there other lady types that can talk to each other?
Oh, BWT.
Yeah.
The Bechdel-Wallace test. For our newer listeners, the Bechdel-Wallace test is a test where two named women characters speak to each other about anything other than a male usually protagonist, but any male.
Any man. Yeah.
And it's a low bar, but very hard to.
I'm gonna say yes. I feel like
Yeah.
I haven't seen this movie, but I feel like there's a scene where
Did you just like interrupt me explaining the Bechdel-Wallace?
Yeah, you were
test?
done. Our titular lady, not our titular lady, our main lady.
She's the bird.
She's the bird.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bird.
Bird.
Miss
Oh,
Bird.
look at that Boyd.
Like calls her mom or her
Okay.
friend
She
on the phone
calls someone.
and is like, the birds are going crazy. What's going on? Claire.
And mom's like, "Oh, Teresa, don't worry about it."
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really strong bet.
It
And
is
I
a strong
love the
bet.
idea that it will only pass over the phone, not in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my secondary
Ooh.
bet.
I'm gonna take a spicy tack and say that it does pass in person, and it is with a, what do we call them? Lady child?
Lady child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like the kind of situation with the way movies work where like it would raise the stakes if there were a child that was being threatened.
Well, just to keep it extra spicy, I'm gonna say it doesn't pass at all.
Nice.
Wow.
Look at this. Look at us. How exciting.
That's very exciting. Another thing I'm excited for is our rating scale.
Yes.
Molly,
Me
how
too.
should we rate this film?
Angry Birds.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Haven't heard that in a while. Now, are these when we say Angry Birds,
Mm-hmm.
are we talking like the sexist term for women that like gangsters used to use?
Oh, Angry Birds.
These angry birds knocking down my door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are they also birds? Is this like a good feathers situation?
They are
Good
birds.
feathers.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Goodfellas. Did you make this joke or is
No,
Good
Good Feathers is a subsection of the Animaniacs cartoon in which three pigeons are the exact same characters as Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro.
Oh, okay.
And they're in some sort of Sicilian pigeon mafia, and they're idiots.
Oh, that's who that
does sound familiar.
Yes, that's them.
Yeah.
Is Animaniacs like fun to watch as an adult?
I have no idea. I never watched it as an adult. There were definitely, like, in retrospect, when I remember parts of the show, I'm like, oh, that was for adult. Like, that
There's
joke
just
was...
so many cultural references in that
Like-
that I'm like, I didn't really get it.
Yeah, sometimes I will think back at something and I'll be like, oh, that joke was literally like just for Steven Spielberg and his friends, right? Like it was only in there because they thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Good Feathers.
Good Feathers.
So what I'm saying is these are birds that can talk and they are also talking like mafiosos
Yes.
that are sexist.
And they're
Yes.
wearing tiny fedoras.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is flipping it on its head. These are women bird mafia.
Ooh.
Oh.
The women bird mafia.
So
Yeah.
they're taking it back. They're like
Yeah.
Taking it
taking
back.
the bird term back,
Yeah.
even though they are also, in fact, literally birds.
Yeah.
They're
Got
the
it.
angry birds, but they've reclaimed it.
Nice. I love it.
I would watch that.
That sounds badass.
Yep.
Are they wearing cats?
Yeah. Fedoras.
Cool. Nice.
Fedoras
Ooh.
aren't just for men.
Rihanna.
There you go. It's for men and Rihanna.
Does Rihanna wear a fedora?
I feel like she dressed that way for at least some era.
What's her thing called?
Huh?
What's
Wait,
her
her
thing
thing?
called?
Fenty?
Fenty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, her brand?
Fentidora.
Oh, Fentora.
Fentidora.
Okay.
I see.
It's a
Feather.
Fenty brand fedora
For birds.
for birds.
Feather to Didora.
Too much. Walk it back.
Back up.
Birds of a feather Tidora.
Please stop.
Well, I think we have our rating scale.
Clearly.
I think it's crystal clear.
Yeah.
Dan, you're first, as we all know.
I am first because it's fun to hear my voice and then hear everyone else's voices so you can remember how good my voice was. I was trying to think of a new tactic or a new perspective on that joke. I feel like this movie is a classic Hitchcock, and I think it's going to be pretty good. And I feel like there'll be like a cool buildup of tension, but I agree with Molly. There will probably be like, just like with Psycho, there'll be like more just quiet conversations at the beginning than we're expecting. And that might be a drag unless it's like an interesting situation between the human beings. And they're just every once in a while, there's like, it'll cut to the window and they'll be like, now there's 3 birds out there. I don't know, but I think it'll be good. So I'm going to say 4 Angry Birds.
Good job.
Thank you.
Beth, you are second, as we all know.
We all know this. I think that it's going to be good about building tension for sure. And other than that, I don't know. Like, I don't think it's one of the better Hitchcock movies. So I'm gonna say 3 Angry Birds. Boys.
Boyd's.
You did a good job, too.
Oh,
Thank you.
But like, did I do a better job?
Jury's still out.
Okay.
My voice was definitely better though. That's the one thing that we can all agree on.
Yes. I am third. My name's Dan. I haven't seen this, and I hear like it's got the, I won't say the most. It's got a lot of cultural cachet as far as Hitchcock's go, but it's not one of the too many that are on the Affy lists. So, is it more fun but less arty? I don't know. I'm going to say 3.5.
Wow.
Wow.
Half a bird.
Hmm.
That's implying some
like-
It's a
unfortunate.
lady Boyd.
Lady Boyd.
Lady Boyd.
It's
What
a
is
chick. It's
Yeah.
like as in a young one.
That's the half?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
what do we call them again?
Huh?
Lady
Angry
Child.
Birds?
Lady Child.
Child.
Yeah, so Lady Boyd.
It's a lady.
Lady Boyd.
Yeah. But not Greta Gerwig.
Sursa.
Gerwing.
Oh, no.
Is that something?
God.
No, it's
yes,
no.
absolutely.
Molly, save us from the...
Hi, I'm Molly. I go fourth, and no one is offended by that. Okay, here's the thing. I remember liking it the first time I saw it, not liking it as much the second time I saw it, and now I feel like I'm going to like it because it'll be a fun atmosphere to watch it in, and I'm braced that it's not going to be like a thrill a second. I have another prediction that I'm going to be almost as irritated at Alfred Hitchcock as I am at Quentin Tarantino for how much they just enjoy torturing women on screen. So prepare yourself. I'll try to give you a heads up when I'm going to go on that rant. But that's for later. For now, I am filled with optimism. I am ready to go. Get this bird in the air for Angry Birds. Boys.
Wow.
Great job.
Thank you.
Who did the best job?
Me.
Okay. Well.
And with that, we're going to press pause, go watch the birds, and we'll be right back.
Hello, this is Beth in the middle of the podcast, here to let you know about something called patreon.com/Totes Recall, where you can go and support the creation of this podcast. If you're
There it is. I was on the edge of my seat. I could feel the tension.
Yeah, if you enjoy this podcast, you can help make it by giving us money. But in return, I know that you can go there and you can donate $1
Wow, what a
a
deal.
month. And you can be part of our Discord where
Oh.
we talk about stuff and we make jokes and have fun. And like if you watch a cool TV show, you can tell us about it and then we'll watch it and we'll
Yeah.
talk
There's
about
a whole
it.
pet channel. There's a channel just for food and one for hyper-local references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes someone will just remember a very specific thing about one of us and throw some content in there.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
fun.
It is fun.
And then if you want to contribute even more a month, there are also other cool levels where you get like a hat or like you can even sponsor a movie.
Whoa.
Like you can pick the movie that we watch for and we do an extra episode. For all of that and more, head to patreon.com/Totes Recall. What? That actually worked.
Yeah.
Yay.
What happened?
I tried to do early.com, but then it was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Are you okay?
I feel great.
All right.
Now back to the show.
And we're back. We just watched 1 hour and 58 minutes of like just a wow. Yeah. Yeah, wow.
Just a wow, yeah,
Just
wow.
a wow, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's all we
Wow.
need to really say.
All right. Well, see you next week.
Next week. For part 3 of The Birds.
Boys.
Totes Recall, The Boys.
Torture the Boys.
Totes Recall, The Boys.
The Boys, a movie that came out in 1963.
I nailed it.
You did not.
I'm sure people remember
Dan
very
was pretty
clearly.
close with 62.
That is close.
And it is in color.
It is in
Yes.
color.
You're right. You're welcome. I started to say you're right, and then you're welcome, and it came out. You're white. You're white. You're white.
Yeah.
You're white. Dan, you're white.
I know.
Breaking news. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, it takes place. Well, I guess before we get too much farther into the weeds, which is a place birds live.
Some birds, sure.
Some?
Yeah, sandpiper.
All right.
Okay, let's.
Oh, okay.
On
If you
this-
need like a good bird, like kind of thing to like wash the intensity away from this, there's a Disney short called Piper.
Oh, it's so cute.
I watch it every time I feel bummed out.
Aw.
Oh,
It's
Wow.
great.
All right.
Okay,
Check it out.
Go ahead.
that's different
Birds.
than the Pixar short with all the birds on the line, and the
that
big
one's called Foy the Boys.
Boy the boys.
I think that one's called For the Birds.
Boy the boys. Ay, here to birds.
Oh no.
Are
One thing we win awards for is our segment.
you
Incredible
okay?
segue.
Wow.
Incredible
We
segue.
win awards for our energy.
60-second summary.
Second summary.
Where we summarize the movie we just watched, The Voids, in 60 seconds exactly.
Yep.
The tradition of this podcast is that I volunteer to go first, but I know I just did it.
Yep.
Yeah, Beth's never done it.
Beth's never done it.
Never done it.
And peek behind her curtain.
Whoa.
She's wearing a bird shirt.
It's wild.
She is wearing a
I
bird
didn't mean
shirt.
to.
So she has to.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
And go.
We open on San Francisco.
Whoa.
There is a woman who is picking up some birds at a pet shop, and she pretends to be working there and trying to sell lovebirds to a man who comes in. Turns out that maybe they're into each other, but they kind of know each other through court because he's a lawyer and she's a troublemaker. She is insane. She finds out where he lives, brings him the birds, and they kind of start a flirtation. Then birds start attacking randomly. They attack a school. They attack a gas station. There's little bouts in between there. They don't know what's going on. They end up getting trapped in a house, and the birds attack them
10 seconds.
until they are... They try to leave in a car, and they drive off into the sunset.
Time.
I missed... I don't know, all of the movie.
Technically, it was a sunrise.
Oh, it was sunrise, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot happens.
Yeah.
In your defense, a lot happens. I think the critical piece, 100% Utah. I
Thank
think
you.
the critical piece is that her flaw as a human is that she is into practical jokes and will take things as far as she needs to.
Yes.
And will lie and do whatever. And so this man, talk about courting, am I right?
Oh.
Is a lawyer who is familiar with her work and sees her as kind of a criminal, but he's also sort of bemused and attracted to her.
Yeah.
And so his way of expressing that is to see how far she'll go.
Yes.
So like he pretends to think that she works at the bird store, and instead of saying like, "Oh, I don't, the lady is checking on my birds, she'll be right back," she just goes for it.
Yeah.
And then he'll get her deeper and deeper into her lie and then flirt with her. And then he leaves trying to be mysterious. And she's like, "Oh no, I'm going to call an employee of my daddy's
Yes.
at the newspaper
Yes.
in San Francisco," which is definitely not Maine. And so then she tracks him down and then is like, "Oh,
In like a, like it, and like I feel like tracks him down simplifies like how much effort she puts into this.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Real quick, they're kind of playing a game of chicken
Real.
in terms of how far they'll take
Yeah.
getting each
They're
other.
also the birds.
Whoa.
The lovebirds.
Yeah.
For the birds.
There's also lovebirds in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her whole impetus for all
Yeah.
this crap. She's like, because he said he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to find lovebirds for my sister. It's her 11th birthday, blah, 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 blah." And then she immediately drafts poor Mrs. Magruder, the owner of the pet shop, like
Yep.
5 minutes after he's left the store. It's like, "Hey, do you have any lovebirds?" She's like, "No, but I could probably get some." And she's like, "Oh, well, why don't you? I could probably get them tomorrow." It's
No,
like,
she's
"That's
like,
fine."
"When do you need them?" Immediately.
Yes. This is already after she's like, "No, deliver the minor bird to my house.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's going to be here in a couple hours."
Yeah, she's got wild, like entitled
Yeah.
daughter of rich
For
newspaper
sure.
magnate
Yeah.
energy.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we learn later that she had a bit of a lost summer in Rome. So she's definitely like
Yeah.
a trust fund baby or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of the movie, she decides to bring these birds to find him and bring these birds to him. And it is an absolutely like wild series of events where she goes into a gas station or like a
Oh no, let's start with
the post office.
going further back. She gets his license plate number.
Oh,
She
right.
doesn't know anything about him. She tracks down his address, brings a
Oh,
note
right. With
to
the
him
birds.
and the birds to leave it at the doorstep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of exposition and a lot of people who volunteer way too much information, including this guy's neighbor.
Yeah. Immediately. It's like, "Oh, he's not home. He's in Bodega Bay. He goes there every weekend."
And then she takes this information and is like, "I'll just drive to Bodega Bay." She gets there and then It's like a whole series. I didn't mean
Oh,
to
that's
interrupt,
right.
but yeah.
I forgot about the part. Yeah,
Yeah.
she goes to his like apartment in town
Yeah,
first.
I forgot about that too. How many miles do you think the neighbor would have had to have said for her to be like, oh, never mind?
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, oh, it's about 60 miles from here.
I don't know. Honestly, I think she would have hopped a plane.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, she was so determined. And here, can we just talk through the steps?
Please.
Yeah.
She drives into town, starts at the post office.
Yes.
/ general store.
/ general
Where
store.
we meet.
Boat rental.
Well, no, he's calling the
Arranger.
boat rental.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the boat rental arranger.
Yeah.
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 He is maybe the first MVP of the movie.
I love
he was
the
so
postmaster
good.
shopkeeper general store.
Yes.
So good.
Like he seemed so, he was
Yeah.
like very polite, but also like befuddled by her at all times.
And but also very willing to give out personal information.
Yes.
Like she's asking, where's this guy live? And he's like, well, look across the bay, that house. Okay, what is his young sister's name?
Oh, yeah.
No, not just across the bay. How do I get there?
Yeah.
And then what is his sister's name? Which they get wrong. It's a madcap comedy.
With an unseen other
And
employee.
then she's like, he's like, there's one road. And she, is there another way? He's like, well, no, it's just the one road. She's like, what if I went across? He's like, you have to go across the bay. And she's like, can I get a boat?
He's like, yes, I suppose you could.
I suppose you could.
I'll get you a boat for you.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, part of me, I'm like, is this commentary on how attractive she is? Because he does have like a great moment of like a little bit of a blush.
I think
but I'm
so.
like, if she were like some haggard elderly man
Yeah.
Yeah.
asking these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well, you'd have
it doesn't
to-
actually seem that weird at first when she's like, "Hey, do you know this guy? Like, where does he like?" That doesn't.
Like, oh,
seem,
I'm in town. And
Yeah.
then, yeah.
But as soon as she's like, "What's the name of his sister?"
Yeah.
His 11-year-old sister. Like that's like, wait, why do you
What?
need to know that? And
Yeah.
why don't you know that if you're visiting them? And I have questions.
Right.
Yeah.
But she fine. So
She-
he's not gonna.
And she has and they're not sure of the name,
Yes.
whether it's Alice or Lois. So they send her to the school teacher.
Yes. That's when it like blew my mind. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I know how to solve this. Just go to her teacher's house.
Yeah.
It's
She'll
her.
know for sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's the coolest character we meet, Annie
Hayworth.
Hayworth.
I
Yeah.
love Annie.
So
Yeah.
cool.
She's
Hands
awesome.
down, most amazing, most honestly understandable character.
Yes.
MVP, like for movies, not for like the way we do MVPs. And like most valuable guide in this. I don't know. Like
She's like a
most-
real person.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. So and without her, you start to feel a little nuts,
Yeah,
right?
because
you're like,
all you
this is
have-
wild.
Because all you have is Melanie and Mitch, who are both doing this like weird sociopathic flirtation
Yes.
thing.
And it's I was having trouble with like the normal dialogue times before the birds start to happen. It's like it wasn't so wackadoo or it's like, okay, this is the style, they're aliens or whatever.
Yes.
But it wasn't normal either. It was like this uncanny valley of like, are these people? How do they talk to each other?
Yeah.
And the acting's good. Like they're all
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
delivering it in
Yeah.
a believable way, but they're not believable people at the same time.
Yeah.
I guess it's like Seinfeld. Like none of those people are actually believable. But
Yeah.
but it's not that over the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
She meets the school teacher, gets in a boat, goes across the bay, breaks into this, watches him. Oh, turns off the motor,
Yes. Paddles in a little, waits till he goes into the barn.
enters his home
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wild.
Leaves lovebirds for his young sister.
Yes.
with,
with
a
a-
note
Can you imagine?
Addressed to the 11-year-old.
Yeah.
by name.
But he's
Oh,
into it. He
like-
pops out. He looks around, gets the binoculars
He's
out.
like all
This
frisky.
is why we say don't dox us.
Yes.
We
Thank
don't want
you.
anybody to leave a cage with 2 lovebirds in it
Yeah.
and a note to our younger
Listen.
sibling.
None of us are Mitch. None of us would walk into the house, see the 2 birds, be like, I bet this is that hot chick from San Francisco, and then go get binoculars to see if she's still out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then he
man.
guns it. He drives all the way back around, intercepts her on the other end
And that is when we have our first taste
of the
of violence.
The boys.
Because it's like, which is, I mean, we'll talk about the incredible pacing in this movie, but like that is so perfect where we have this insane, like, wackadoo, like these 2 heightened people, like kind of having their weird little game of flirtation. And then it's just sort of like, at that point, it's just kind of like another bit of hijinks, right? Almost, where it's just like, oh God, a bird just like swooped into my head and attacked me. Because it's not like she gets like severely hurt or anything. And it's just sort of like if we didn't know what this movie was, it almost would seem like like part of the meet cute of a rom-com, right? Because
Yeah.
then it gives them excuse to spend more time together and blah blah.
Oh,
blah.
the classic. Gotta dab your head with a.
But there's like
But there's enough blood that it
there's-
seems
yeah.
a little bit like something is
and there's
off.
yeah, and like there's just enough dialogue to hint that's like where even he's just like, I've never seen anything like that. And then the guy at the dock is like, what happened? It's like, oh, a gull. And the guy just kind of like looks out at the water and sort of just seems very perplexed. And so yeah, there's enough of this like unsettling element to it right away.
That's true. Everything is unsettling. The flirtation, her willingness to push social boundaries, his willingness to be excited by that.
Yeah. Can we circle back to Annie's meeting when she meets Annie for 1 second? Because I think part of the reason we liked her so much and we felt like she was the only human being is because like she seemed to see through Melanie immediately.
Yeah.
Right? Like she seemed to understand like, oh, you're just some lady who thinks he's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still very willing to give up the name of that young
Yes.
But also
student in her class.
Kathy is the name of the sister.
Yeah. Because even she's probably just, I mean, we learned later like she's had a prior relationship with Mitch and their family. So part of her was probably just like, I would love to see his mother have to deal with this woman.
It's
Yeah.
true. And she kind of hints, and I don't know if she was just trying to be a little mean, but she's like, yeah, lots of people from San Francisco come through
Right.
looking for Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, if this is not her first rodeo,
Yep.
Yeah.
how exhausting.
But also,
Anyway, she rules.
Melanie and Annie have some energy between
Oh, yeah.
them. Eventually, Melanie stays the night at Annie's, rents a room.
Yes. For the same weird reasons that she came up there in the first place, which
Yeah.
is like she told Mitch she was up here for the weekend regardless.
Yeah.
And just thought she'd bring the birds because she was coming up to town. And then she's like, oh, I went to school with Annie. I'm staying with her for the weekend, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just pushes her into bigger lies.
Yeah.
And she just keeps going.
And then Kathy's like, you got to come to my birthday party. I don't know why Kathy's obsessed
Kathy
with her,
is
the little
Immediately.
Yeah. I mean,
younger sister, in case we didn't
Is
say.
she just looking for love because her
think
mom is so cold?
I think because she's so cold and Mitch is out in San Francisco all the time that she's probably just like, oh my God. Because as far as she can, her interpretation is just like, this woman did something nice for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like she removes all the other weird elements to it. It's just like, oh, she brought the birds I wanted.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, that's true.
And then immediately like, you are my best friend. You should come to this party.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just like, I don't know, when I was a young gal,
Yeah.
lady child,
Yeah.
like
you.
anytime like a cool, like
no,
older
totally.
lady child
Yes.
or woman would come into my life, I'd be like, oh, you're awesome. I want to be around you all the
Totally.
time.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that tracks for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know that I would be like, you have to stay.
yeah, she's pretty insistent.
But it also makes the juxtaposition with the mom a little bit more stark because
She is intense.
yeah, she does
Oh,
not
boy.
like having another woman around.
Yeah. But
And
in a
also
way
that
I
she's
found-
not wrong.
No.
No.
And it turns out she recognizes her from the papers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. The
she's like
papers are-
basically Paris Hilton
Yeah.
yeah.
during the early years,
Kind
not
of.
now.
Yeah.
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 Don't
Yeah.
dox me.
What?
I don't know.
All right.
What if Paris Hilton and her people come after me?
Hey, just-
I know she's like testifying in front of Congress and stuff now. I get it.
Is she?
Is she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but early on,
Yeah.
she was kind of a party girl.
Her notoriety came from just being a
That's
rich,
hot.
Yeah, that's hot.
That's
My dad's
hot.
rich.
She had a tiny dog.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Her, her
that's right.
friend. She had a friend too.
Nicole Richie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, both those things. Yeah.
Anyway,
We look to Dan for most of our teen information.
yes, he is our anchor to all pop cultural phenomena.
That's true. Lydia, the mom, played by Jessica Tandy, also has weird energy that I didn't quite understand. Like, to a degree, I get it. I get the character, but something's not quite right.
Yeah, like they start to like peel it back as they spend more time together. But like, yeah, when you first meet her, she is just like so, like just like shut down and
Yeah.
nothing but like eyes boring into your brain.
Yeah.
And clearly just has like she has the physicality of like Sam the Eagle from the Muppets, right? For like at least the first few scenes that we see her in. She's just like very straight backed and just like intensely staring down her nose.
Almost like a bird.
Oh.
Yeah. Sam Eagle.
Yeah.
He's an eagle.
He is an eagle.
I know.
But he's also a Muppet. So.
We're focused on the Muppet.
Oh, sure. She has a great monologue on the phone about the bird feed store that just I was very impressed with Jessica Tandy.
So compelling. And also another taste, just a little taste of like something weird is going on.
I was so engaged with this long monologue. I guess it's not, it's sort of a monologue. You only hear one side of it, right?
Yeah.
But just like about how the bird feed's probably bad because her chickens are weird now.
Chickens won't eat.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she even said, she's like, it's like, oh, if your chicken doesn't eat, it must be something wrong with the feed. I left the bag open. Mm-hmm. She is like, she was definitely the best, but I think that I would argue that this movie is chock-a-block full of people who are very good at having one-sided conversations on the phone. I found every phone call surprisingly compelling for it being just a bunch of people going, yes. No, and then like giving their opinion about something. Like, but hers was definitely the best because it was just like our first taste of like, all the birds are weird.
Well, and it was such a great experiment in belief. Yeah. Because she's one of the first people to kind of like everyone is pushing against this threat, right? And you learn so many bird facts through this process.
One of our top MVPs.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Like, deputies show up and they're explaining like things that aren't what we've just witnessed. It just happens over and over again. It comes to a pinnacle later at the hotel, but it's our first little taste of her like quiet stubbornness, not backing down from what she knows.
Yes.
And it was like one of the themes that I guess I thought was the most interesting in the movie was just this like, how do you get people to like, it could be about global warming, right? Yeah. How do you get people to believe that something is bad when they haven't experienced it themselves? And then by the time they do experience it, it's kind of too late.
Also, like for her, like, I guess they all have their own like individual like believe me about the birds arc. Hers is like probably the most disturbing because like you learn through her conversation like, oh, Dan Fawcett also is having trouble, but he sold her a different feed. So she's like, I'll go visit him tomorrow. Yeah. And then she goes over there. The house is dead silent. There are just bird carcasses around, and then you just see
broken glass. Like,
that's right. The window's broken.
Or broken teacups.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's even better than the broken window. Oh, that was so creepy.
Yeah.
Well, because she had experienced herself a bird attack in her home.
Yes.
Right? Because all the birds
was that
come through
after
the chimney.
The sparrows came through the chimney? Okay.
So as soon as she sees those broken teacups, she's like, oh no.
And that is wild.
The sparrows coming through the chimney, I did not remember that scene at all. That was fucked.
Yeah.
Like that was so unexpected and so intense.
And it just goes on and on and on.
Yes. And it's like, I don't know. Yeah. They just play it so well. Cause like, it is just like, at first it's just sort of like, Melanie just sort of like looks over and kind of like tilts her head and you just see like one sparrow, like down on the, like at the bottom of the hearth.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like, oh, that's weird. And then just like a faucet opens. Yes. Oh my God.
Or there's some goldfinches and robins in there, I think, as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, they had to fill in.
Yeah.
That's true. We only know they were sparrows because they look at a dead one later. It's like, yeah, that's a sparrow, all right.
But I think it was attracted to the light.
Oh, that's where we learned about Sheriff Al, who we hate.
Oh, he's the worst.
Such a mansplainer. He's like, oh, were you burning any lights last night? Like, I heard they can be attracted to the light.
It's totally normal that 100 birds just flew in through your chimney.
Right. And like, there is some, I mean, given the lack of carcasses, there's some implication that most of the birds left the house. So all Al has to go off of are like the half dozen dead sparrows he sees or
But
whatever.
Mostly women in the house.
A lot of broken stuff.
Yeah.
But he probably was just like, oh, these women folk getting hysterical about a bird in the house.
Yeah.
Ugh, Sheriff Al.
Which,
you suck.
Speaking of women,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's mostly a cast of women.
Yeah.
And they all talk to each other about lots of different things.
Yep.
So pass.
They passed the Bechdel in the first line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Yep.
She talks to Mrs. Magruder at the pet shop. Those are the first conversations, and it's just about a myna bird.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It was one of the most.
Got names.
Yeah.
But
there is so much, like there was definitely some one act play energy through all of it, right?
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing.
It kind of made me nostalgic for a time when you would have superfluous information shared.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I know that each line is absolutely intentional and it creates an effect, but typically the building blocks of that intention aren't made with, well, you go down along this road over to the corner. Like, I don't know, they have an ornithologist show up and give us a lot of bird facts.
Yeah, I think one of the most fun scenes and sequences is when they're in the diner. This is after all the crows attack the school children.
Which again, like incredible setup where she's. I don't even remember why she's going to the school. She just wants to like make sure Kathy's okay.
She's checking on Kathy.
Yeah, Lydia's freaking out.
Oh, right, because Lydia just came back from Dan Fawcett's house where she just saw his bloody feet and a bunch of dead birds.
And all the broken windows, and the school has nothing but windows.
Yeah, and Melody's like, I'll go check on her.
Right.
Yeah, she goes up there, and that's, I guess, one of the best building creepy scenes
So
where she
cool.
goes
So
outside
good.
to smoke. Everybody's smoking in this, and teens
Hell yeah, they are.
Cover your ears.
but they look cool as shit.
look
Yeah,
so
they
cool.
really do.
Yeah, her and Annie and Melanie just smoking and cutting it up,
So cool.
comparing nightwear.
Yep.
We also decided that pulling out a cigarette is the same as pulling out your phone. now.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. It's like, oh, I got a few minutes. I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have something in my hands.
Yeah, so
And-
she pulls out her old phone.
While all the school children are singing, and that's the only sound you hear, except for that and the flap of bird wings.
like-
Singing a song about marrying someone under the
it's-
moonlight.
It's such a perfect build up too, because like she's just smoking a cigarette and one crow lands behind her, and you're already like, ugh. And
She
then it
doesn't
just-
notice.
No, and then like a couple more come, and like I think maybe you see maybe like 6 or 7, right? And then there's just like one crow that's coming from in front of her, and she has the moment that we had 3 minutes earlier. Just like, oh, one bird. That's a little uncomfortable given what's been happening. And then she follows it and turns around as it lands on the playground equipment, and it's there. Every inch of the playground is covered in crows. It's so cool.
I want to know how they did that. How did they get
Yeah.
all those crows to sit on that?
I worry how they did that.
Yeah,
What do you think?
What do you think they glued the crows?
maybe.
I mean,
Oh,
But they were like,
they were chill.
they were
they weren't
chill.
like flapping around and
that's
stuff.
true.
That's true.
Drugged him.
I did see that
You
they.
can train. I mean, crows are probably one of the easier birds to train for movies, I bet. So this might just be like a crow guy.
I did see that they used a lot of birds
Yeah.
in the movie, and a lot of them were trained, and there were like 4 featured birds or something like that.
Do you think those are the ones that would like bite people in close up?
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
They spent $200,000 on birds,
Nice.
yeah,
which
Wow.
is an incredible amount of money for that time, right?
mostly crows and gulls.
Yes.
Those are the top 2 birds.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they had to fill in with like pet store birds to like just give them the volume. But as we're talking about it, I kind of wonder because to get the special effects really for all those bird and tent scenes, he actually ended up hiring like 3 different companies to do various effects. So one did the phone booth, one did the playground scene, one did that, you know, and so on.
Yeah.
One of them was Disney, and they had, or it wasn't Walt Disney, but someone on his team
Yeah.
was an expert and figured out how to map multiple birds and do 2 shots. And you know what? I got bored trying to read about it because I was also trying to
they,
watch
like,
the movie.
I
Wow,
assume
you
they, like-
actually turned away from your phone to watch the
Wow.
movie.
I really
That's
did. It was
quite
like,
the
it was,
endorsement.
it is. I almost didn't have any information for you.
I assume they like. I think I assume from what you're saying that
Yeah.
they probably just like overlaid a couple of different film stocks or like.
They did, but there's a more complex process that allowed them to avoid it looking fake the way that similar technique
Yeah.
looks. So there wasn't like a blue effect.
There was only one shot that had the blue effect, which
Yeah.
was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Like it was one shot of a bird that you could tell it kind of had like a outline that you'd see in like the old cut of Star Wars or something when they were in the
Yeah.
windows. But every other time it was just sort of like, I mean, there was definitely like something uncanny valley about like the birds like swooping towards the camera, but it still looked like pretty damn good.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how much of that is real birds and practical effects versus like, who knows? But it's creepy.
Because like sometimes that's the thing is like it was so like you just sort of assumed whenever they were like running from birds and then birds would attack them, like you just sort of like in your head you're like it's 1963, right?
Yep.
You just sort of assume like someone's off camera like throwing birds at like throwing like taxidermy birds or something.
Yeah.
But then like anytime anyone actually interacts with the birds, it's like, oh damn, that bird looks like it's doing bird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a real bird.
Yeah.
I think it was.
What was I'm trying to decide what was the most fucked up image, and I think it might have been the kid face down at Kathy's birthday party getting like pecked by
Yeah.
a crow or a gull.
Yeah.
Dear
Yeah.
God. Every bird attack was so harrowing and like
And like
unsettling.
children.
Yep.
When we're ready. Yeah, go ahead.
I have questions about like if a single bird could take me down.
Right?
Because I'm like, maybe I could get like, I don't know. I guess if you get hit hard enough in your head.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be like there's a narrow window where a single bird could do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a single bird, you've got a good chance. You'll definitely like, if it's coming for you, like you might get some severe laceration. You have to go to a hospital.
How many birds do you think each of us could fight? Yeah.
Well, I think it also depends on the size of the bird, right?
Oh, for sure.
Really, the size of the beak.
Crows and gulls.
Okay, crows and gulls.
A crow gull team.
Oh God.
I feel like I could take.
No, I love this. It's a legitimate question.
Wow.
I think I could take on 6.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
What's your
too.
strategy?
A windmill arm.
Yeah, nice. That's good. That's pretty good.
Grab one and smash it in the ground.
And then use that one to hit the other one.
Yes. No, that's okay. That's what I would do. I'm going to also say 6, but I would, the first one I would grab it and then swing it around like Kong does with the little monkey in the new Godzilla Kong movie.
Yeah.
That fucking rocked.
You got to cover your eyes for sure.
For sure.
That's the problem is like trying the instinct to protect yourself.
Yes, which is definitely what got a lot of people more injured than they would have been because they're just trying to cover their head.
Well,
you
and
gotta
there's
grab
one
a
scene
bird.
where a
You gotta
little
grab a
boy just like crumples against a telephone pole, and we don't see
Little
him
Opie,
again.
the little redheaded
see him
boy.
again.
I'm really hoping that the teacher got
He
him.
got eaten by the birds.
Yeah, he probably got.
Oh, but the news report said that a girl was taken to the hospital. And nobody else was.
Oh, that's
okay.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, great.
I mean, if I could have a tennis racket, that number goes
That's
way
not what
up.
we're saying. No one's saying you have a tennis racket.
But you could.
If I did, it goes way up.
Because
what?
yeah, if you're trying to protect your eyes and your eyes are closed, like
Okay.
that's another factor to consider. And it's just mayhem.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is there's coming from every direction. Like
Right.
if I get ants on me coming from every direction, I lose my mind.
Yeah.
I do have questions now. I have so many questions
40.
actually.
I think I could take 40 with a tennis
40?
racket. With a tennis
With a
racket.
tennis
Come
racket?
on,
Come
dude.
on.
What's that?
No.
4 and 20 blackbirds. Or whatever. That's what that's about.
That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
if you were wearing a helmet with a visor, maybe.
or if they were doing like old kung fu movie rules where only one would come at a time.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if they fight with honor, then
We saw the movie. They clearly don't.
they don't.
Okay, but that is a question. So when they're in the house,
Yes.
and they're boarding up all the windows and stuff,
Yes.
like put on like 5 sweaters or something, right? To
Oh,
like
interesting.
protect. Like, why aren't they doing other things instead? They at one
Sitting
point
around.
they hide in the Lydia, the mother, and Kathy, like cower in a corner,
Yeah.
and then Mitch comes over and is like, "Here, sit on this chair instead." I don't know why he does
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if that was just him being like, just pick a spot or
Yeah.
something because they did kept like moving to different corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
don't
I'm
know.
like,
Just wrap yourself
Yeah.
in a shower curtain.
Right.
cover
or
yourself in as many things as possible. Put something over your eyes. Like there are other ways
Make
to
a mattress fort.
Yeah, I don't.
I guess it's easy for us now.
Yeah.
Right? I think they figured right that the wood would hold.
Right.
Yeah.
Which they learned maybe not.
Maybe not. Ooh, okay. And so this is maybe beside the point, but those early gull attacks, do you think the other gulls were like, come on, Larry, you got to wait for all of us?
Oh, like they,
We had a plan.
Yeah.
they're getting organized.
Like Larry just got too excited. Like he saw her going across the bay and he's just like, fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think that in that last part where they're like slowly walking through all of the birds,
Yeah.
like trying to get to the car, there's one that like kind of pecks at his ankle.
Yes.
I like to think that he showed up late and it was like, well, finally, it's my chance.
Like he missed all the other attacks.
Yeah, he's like, well, let me get one in.
Yeah.
So there's an incredible scene at the hotel where mayhem is breaking loose. It's before everyone else has experienced what's happening. And it's like every version of hysteria and reaction in one little location.
You talking about the diner?
Oh, was that a diner? I thought it was a hotel. I thought it was like, anyway, the diner. Yes.
Where the ornithologist is?
Yes.
I think it's like the
Yeah.
seaside restaurant
Yeah.
or something.
You've got
right?
the ornithologist scientist. You've got an Irish guy.
Apocalypse guy.
Apocalypse
Yeah.
guy. You've got a freaked out mom with 2 kids
God,
Oh my
that mom.
gosh.
who starts out pretty reasonable, and then you're like, I don't know.
Getting a
She
little,
keeps going, "You're scaring the children."
getting a little wild. You got Sebastian Scholes, boat captain.
Yes.
Sebastian rules, and apparently he pulls a lot of weight in this town.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're
Yeah.
told.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because he has all the
Gulls
boats.
turned over one of his boats.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see that. That's wild, right?
Yeah.
He was so
capsized a ship.
He was so funny though because he was just like, he's like, what's that, Shoals? He's like, just some gulls that turned over one of my boats, and he's just like so casual about it, and like still again very Sheriff Al about it, and just kind of like,
He's a sea captain. He's seen some shit.
He's seen some shit.
Yeah.
He's seen a shark with doll's eyes.
Yeah, but we can't just jump over the old lady ornithologist.
Oh no.
No.
Because she like rocks up and she's like, can I get change for the cigarette machine, apparently. And it's like, this is like, if we hadn't already passed the Bechdel Wallace test like 400 times, this would be a moment we were cheering for, because it's like, oh, hey, Helen. And then she just
Melanie is on the phone with her father explaining this, that the
newspaper.
crows had just attacked a school.
Yeah.
She said
Was it a raven or?
it was like, no, yeah, the
Blackbirds.
the bartender was just like, oh, was it crows or blackbirds? And then it's like, oh, what's the difference? And then she's like, unprompted.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, there's quite a bit of difference, in fact.
Yeah, and then she gets smokes and then comes
then
back.
Melanie just politely says, thank you, and then continues her phone conversation.
That's right. That would have been enough, right?
And then she comes back and just continues to proffer unsolicited bird facts.
She's laying out like Roman, or what do you call it?
Latin.
Greek, Latin names. Yeah, Latin names for the birds and like their different habitats. And she's she's a doubter about a bird
Yeah.
war that's happening. The
Birds
bird war they
add
labor.
beauty to the earth.
yeah,
right.
she's very skeptical of a bird war.
Yeah.
She's a scientist.
Yes.
Yeah, it's her avocation.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Mrs. Bundy, that was her name.
Yeah, she's so good.
She rules.
Yeah.
Really great.
And she looks so cool smoking.
Yeah.
So cool.
Crosstalk was impeccable. It was amazing.
Oh, and then there was what? Impeccable. Nice. And then there was also maybe my favorite character in that scene, which was just random stranger who comes in, already hates birds. It's unclear why.
I don't think he knows that the bird attacks are
No,
happening.
not at all.
He's just like, you guys talking about how much we hate
we
birds?
should kill all the birds. Like he's just immediately like anti-bird with no
Yeah, it
context.
seems like the kind of guy who's got a nice car and a bird shat on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
probably.
like, that's probably what happened.
Oh, yeah,
She's
that's
like,
what he's
there are,
mad about.
200 billion birds or something? Some
was a lot.
insane statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but angry guy gets his comeuppance? Question mark.
Does he? Is he the one putting gas in the
He
car?
was, I referred to him as bird-hating horn dog because the only things we know about him is he hates birds. And then when the mom is like, how do I get out of town? And he's like, oh, the highways. How do I get there? And he's just like, I'm going that way. I can take it. And he's just like, he's raised his little glass of whiskey or
Finishes
whatever.
Let me
his
just
scotch.
finish my drink.
I know. And then even then, like, he's already, like, you can tell he's already over. She's like, please come here. He's like, all right. And he slams it back.
Yeah. But then we get to like mass hysteria. That's when that kicks off because the gulls come and attack the gas station
And it
attendants.
is more massive than any of us were expecting.
No,
Yeah.
I did not remember that
No.
at all.
Like at one point, like a guy's just filling up his gas tank. One gull kind of swipes him at his face, and he falls over, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And a couple people run out to help him.
Yeah, that guy couldn't even take two birds.
He
Well,
was
he was
filling up his car. It was a surprise
Totally,
attack.
It's a shock.
Surprise attack.
He doesn't die, but he does like flounder, and he drops the gas.
Pump.
Thingy.
Pump. What is that called?
Hose?
Handle?
Nozzle?
Nozzle.
Which then flows disturbingly far.
Oh,
Yeah.
and so much.
There's so much.
It was like as many sparrows.
Yes. yes, it was.
Did the line get cut? Is that why it was flowing like that?
Or he like pulled it out when he was
Yeah.
falling over or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
63. They got no safety.
They didn't
That's
have the
true.
safety.
But yeah, it was a chimneys full of sparrows worth of gasoline flowing down the street,
yeah.
pooling under all the other parked cars.
Yeah, under
Including-
bird-hating horn dog.
And then everyone else who didn't decide to go help the guy is just like looking out the window, horrified, and they see what bird hater is about to do, which is to light up a cigar. We were predicting that a bird was going to light a cigarette and throw a match in, which would have been awesome. We all agree. This was pretty good too, though. And they all like are screaming at him. And then he gets, ironically, so distracted by them shining at him that the match burns down to his fingers, and then he drops it. And then at that point, everything just fucking explodes.
yeah, pretty good explosion.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Really
First
good.
you see
Blows up
his
2-3
car
cars.
explode.
Yeah.
And then
man.
you just the fire just tears through.
Yeah, and then it goes back up the gas lane and takes out the original car.
Yeah.
And then it goes to this...
Birds are attacking all
the
the whole
All
time,
while this is happening.
all along there are gulls flying everywhere, and then it goes to this amazing overhead shot that just like shows the flaming devastation, and then a bunch of gulls just sort of casually float into frame and observe the horrors
And
they
then
created.
a horse-drawn carriage
That
just
rocks.
peels around the
I
corner.
love. There is a
No rider.
No, there is a story told through one sequence of just riderless horse wagon. It came from somewhere.
Yeah.
Those horses are freaked though.
There are cars crashing into things. Like it is.
It's wild.
And this is a very small town
Yes.
where there is one hotel, one diner, one
gas
school.
pump, probably.
The
Yeah.
police department comes in and they're spraying the fire and also the birds with the hoses.
Like, trying their best.
Oh,
Yeah. And she runs into the phone booth.
There was
Iconic
yes,
scene.
and right before that though, there was also we saw like a car kind of like. It sort of seemed like it was just veering around something, but then it like as he drives with the camera, you see there are actually like 3 gulls in the car attacking him. Jesus. Then she runs in the front booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is terrifying. Because at first it's like nothing is like the birds are just outside, but then they start to crash and the glass starts to crack.
And by then they've really made you feel like any glass is just, just very fragile.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like multiple men covered in blood come up to the phone booth and like try to get into
As
it.
they're trying,
yeah.
as they're getting pecked. Yeah. It's pretty horrific.
Yeah, and then Mitch grabs her, brings her back into the diner,
Yeah.
and all of these like women are cowering in the hallway.
Including
Bird lady.
the ornithologist.
She doesn't. No one like says see.
But she definitely has like crumpled.
She's
Yeah.
turned away.
But then we get the mom of the 2 young children who accuses Tippy Hedburn of being the evil
like
that
the
brought
curse that brought the birds.
She's like, I heard this happen when you got here.
Yeah.
that shot was intense.
Yeah, it was really intense. She's
Just, like,
looking almost
close-up.
in the camera,
Yeah.
almost down the lens. But
Yeah.
There was something about that scene to me that was like I think the other scenes are very like tense,
Yeah.
but that one was scary to
Yes,
me. I felt like
totally.
she was very scary.
yeah. It felt a little bit like the Princess Bride boo.
Oh yes, totally. Yeah, totally.
Not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, this just reminded me. I wrote this down. This was after. I can't remember if it was after the sparrow chimney or after she saw the corpse of Dan Fawcett. But Lydia, at one point when she gets back, just says, "The business with the birds upset me," which is like, no shit, Lydia.
Yeah.
What an understatement.
Yeah.
It's like she was like, "Sorry, I'm having kind of a
I'm
weird
having a
day."
I'm having a bit of an afternoon, if you'll forgive me. Oh my God. Yeah, every bird attack was way more intense than I remembered it being. Like I remembered with my memory, this movie was just like, there's a bunch of footage of birds flapping around.
Yep.
And then like Alfred Hitchcock like throws a bird at the phone booth. And that's like what I remembered. I was just like, yeah, there's a bunch of birds flying around and they scream a lot. No, every single bird attack is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And the pacing is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the eeriest, most unsettling parts of this movie are when there's just a lot of birds waiting. Like they have amassed.
Yeah.
Either on the playground or at the very end, where there's just like the yard
everywhere.
and the roof is just covered with gulls and crows.
And they're like, I love how they are like on a set schedule. Cause like if he gets too close to one, they kind of bite at him, but otherwise they're just hanging out.
They're waiting
Yeah.
for the next moment to go nuts. Yeah.
Waiting for bird captain to fire a flare or something.
That's right.
And they never reveal why. We do learn that it's like it is isolated to Bodega Bay and some areas around there, but
Which
It
seemed
references an area where there was a bird attack in
What?
1961.
excuse me.
Wow.
Yes.
What kind of bird
In
attack?
California. A bunch of seagulls started dive bombing people at random and acting very strangely. They didn't understand at the time, but it turns out they had all like been affected by some toxic algae that had formed. And so they were all like, I guess, out of their minds and like sick. And so, they just like dive bombed. And so the place was just littered with dead gulls.
Huh.
Wow.
So it's like the terrifying, not funny version of
Yes.
the birds here that get drunk on fermented berries in the winter.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yikes.
So they're kind of a little bit referencing that.
okay.
I also liked the I like with the cities they list on, I like the implication that some of the birds like followed that kid because that's where they were taking her to Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa.
Oh, yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After him.
That's like killer bees.
Right?
They can like track people for miles.
What?
Killer bees can track your scent for miles.
What? Why? Why would they do that?
The RZA?
Because they're
What?
The Jizza?
What?
No, Africanized bees.
Old dirty bastard?
What are you?
Inspector
What is
Deck?
happening? What joke is this?
Ghostface Killer?
Do they call
What are
themselves
you
the Killer
doing?
Bees?
Yeah.
Is that a
Killer
reference
Bees.
I don't know?
Wu-Tang Clan?
I was like, aren't you
Oh.
just listing members of the Wu-Tang Clan? I'm talking about killer bees.
Yeah. Killer Bees Attack.
I love it.
That's
Oh.
another song.
Oh.
Great. Check out Wu-Tang.
Check out the Wu-Tang Clan. It's still good.
I should check out the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
So we're just not going to follow the thread on actual killer bees tracking your scent
I don't
for
know.
miles.
They're terrifying.
That's all I know
that's
about
all
them.
I know about
is they
them.
can
Better not
track
to think
you.
about it.
It's
for-
better not to think about
I
it.
have gone my whole life not knowing that, and now I can't stop thinking
Yeah,
about
but they're not
it.
up here yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
When did they
fine.
get here?
I don't know.
I'll have to follow somebody up before.
Nobody come to Minneapolis. Wait a minute. No docs. Don't dox me,
Oh, shit.
please.
No.
The bees are listening.
It's too cold.
The bees are listening.
Keeps the riffraff out.
We'll see.
No one fights a bird with an umbrella or a gun.
No, it's
No.
all
Too bad.
swats.
Yeah.
You wish that they had a weapon.
one
A
weaponizes
tennis
in
racket
any
would have
way.
been great.
Would have been great. 40 birds.
No
Would
way,
take that.
40
No,
birds. You're full
there's
of shit.
no way. That is BS.
I will
sir.
give you 20.
And I would just like to say I didn't answer the question, but I think I could take on a maximum of 2 birds.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Just being realistic.
Like bare hands? We're talking bare hands?
Bare hands.
Yeah, that was the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? You don't think like a.
No.
Well, it's like you just take care of one at a time.
No,
the
because they're
birds aren't-
coming for your eyes.
Also, they can,
So you can't see them.
and they can strafe, Beth.
Yeah.
What?
The birds can strafe. They can just glide away from you laterally. So even if you're swatting at one, the
Once
other
they
one,
get in close, they don't have much agility anymore.
you don't know that.
Like, I'm
Are
going to
you
take some
making some
cuts. Like, I'm not going to come out
no,
unscathed. I'm
no
going to be
one's,
messed
everyone's
up.
taking cuts.
Okay, here's what we do.
Okay.
We get 40 trained birds.
Yes. Okay. New Patreon tier.
Dan fights 40 birds.
If you give us enough money, once we figure out what it is, to get 40 birds, Dan will fight them with a tennis racket.
There has to be like a VR version of it or something,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. We'll pay to fund
A
bird fight.
simulator.
We'll figure out. Yeah. Okay.
Bird fight simulator.
We'll call up MIT. We'll see like who there is willing to
Yeah.
simulate attack birds.
Cornell, they got a really good bird lab.
Okay,
There you
perfect.
go.
So
Yeah.
they can work. It'll be a joint effort.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how much they're willing to, how much money they need to do
Yeah.
the research.
Yeah.
And then Dan will get, they'll capture your motions and
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
range, your arm range of motions, and
Okay,
like the
yeah.
velocity you can swing a tennis racket.
Yeah.
Throw it in the simulator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would get to play it. They run simulations based on my abilities.
I think so the way that they would make it work is that you would be wearing like VR glasses,
Yeah.
but then people would be shooting pellet guns at you, like not pellet guns, but like what are those foam, like those Nerf guns?
Yeah.
And everything that hits, you got to try to get that bird off of you. So I think it would get that flailing motion.
All right, that's the first tier.
Yes. Yes. First tier VR
I'm in VR while
goggles.
people shoot me with
VR goggles, vinyl jumpsuit so that they use the suction cup darts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a very tight suit.
Very tight.
We can all agree about that.
Very tight. Don't you worry, patrons.
Most of the money is actually paid is for the tailoring of the suit.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's got to be
Tight.
There's a mention on the radio when Mitch. Oh, by the way, how fucked is it that from what he hears on the radio, like he might not even be able to get out of the city?
Yeah, there's roadblocks, and then everybody
Yeah.
else already left, which they should have.
For
We
sure.
were shouting at them like, "Why are you still in town?"
Beth, like for the last 20 minutes of the movie, anytime anyone did anything that wasn't Leave Town, Beth was screaming at the TV.
Well, it's like, okay, so I think it's after the scene in the diner, they go to find, oh my gosh, I can't remember anyone's names. They go to find Kathy.
Oh, fuck,
and
right. She's
Annie,
at Cool Annie's house.
And
Yeah.
Annie
Blow.
has saved Kathy from
Oh.
a swarm of birds and is dead on the doorstep.
Ugh,
awful.
It's terrible.
It's
And Kathy is traumatized in the house. And the next scene they're back at home boarding up the windows.
Yeah.
I'm like, get in the car and leave. What are you doing?
Yeah. Go to Santa Rosa.
I
Or
guess
something.
you can't feel safe in the car either, though, right?
That's true. They already saw
None of
that
the car
guy.
windows broke. Anybody notice that? Just house windows, and
Yeah,
they keep
but-
on going.
Well,
and
no,
Mitch
out.
has a
broke
soft top, though.
the truck windows were blown out by a bird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could outdrive a bird.
A bird?
I could drive faster than a bird.
No, but what if they're coming from every angle? They're
Tier 2.
massing. They're massing from every angle, Dan.
We rent out a racetrack. We hire a bunch of birds.
Okay.
Not a peregrine falcon. Those can go very fast.
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
200 miles an hour or something.
Really?
When diving, yes.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Wow. It's fun.
Yeah.
I decided everything cool about birds now is a threat.
Yeah. I couldn't even take one peregrine falcon.
No.
Unless you had very good aim with that tennis racket.
Yeah. With a tennis racket, I could maybe fight a hawk.
What kind of hawk?
Yeah, Cooper's hawk.
Which one's a Cooper's hawk?
They're medium sized.
Okay.
Oh,
Listen, I had a hawk fly over my shoulders once
Ugh.
because I was out and back with my chickens. I used to have chickens.
Oh.
Were they eating?
They ate. They were pretty healthy.
Wow. Long pause on that.
Yeah.
But I had 3 chickens, Henny, Penny, and Buttercup.
Oh.
And they were in the backyard. And as I sort of turned, I saw and felt like the wind of this hawk swooping down. And like as that was happening or before it happened, I don't know. The next thing I knew, Henny, who was the most protective of them, had the other 2 chickens under her wing. And they were underneath the coop. Like so fast.
That's
wow.
awesome.
It was like the majesty
Yes.
of a very close encounter with a hawk. And also I was like, oh, okay, yes, I see how this happens.
Mm-hmm.
I get it now.
Yikes.
So watch your chickens.
Hey, watch your chickens.
Watch them like a hawk?
Whoa.
I don't know.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a
I
conundrum.
guess so.
Yeah.
I looked up the bald men and eagles situation.
Yes. Okay. I
And
forgot about
it is from, it actually is a thing that happened.
Okay.
Eagle owls or
Sure.
something like that.
Yeah, that's an owl.
Were attacking bald men because I thought that they were eggs. That was the theory. But Nate Bargatze, who's a stand-up comedian, talks about it in one of his specials.
I see.
I highly recommend checking him out
He's
if you
very funny.
ever are looking for some funny stand-up.
Yeah. If you need something that's not as funny as us, but it's like a different kind of funny,
Yeah.
check out Bargatze.
Listen, I haven't heard him once.
Nate Birdgetsy.
Whoa.
Not once has he estimated how many birds he could fight off.
As far as we know.
As far as we know.
Seems
Don't-
like a thing he would talk about.
It does. It absolutely does. But also trademarks.
Yeah.
You hack? Nate, you hack?
You can't steal this.
We're the premier bird fighting comedy outfit.
Listen, we are a regional podcast.
Yes, right. Speaking of bird fighting.
And we're about movies.
yes.
Yeah, that movie.
Speaking of bird fighting, the reason I brought up the radio was the newscast that Mitch is listening to, like, there's discussion of, like, should they bring the military in? And a part of me really wants to see that sequel,
Yeah.
right? Whereas just, like, the U.S. military just coming into Bodega Bay,
Fighting the birds.
just fighting a swarm of gulls. Because, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can fire your weapons at them, but when there's that many birds, like, yeah, you're going to kill some birds, but there's so many birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
You can't-
ornithologist
You
told us
can't
that.
fight a land war with birds.
Yeah.
But you can't really fight an air war either. What are you going to do? I guess you could drag a net and
You'd
scoop
have to,
them
like,
up.
firebomb the
I think
city.
you got to do a net situation.
You'd have to firebomb the city and hope that the conflagration is fast enough that most of them can't get high enough.
Yeah.
Or maybe some sort of like gas situation to make them all fall asleep.
Sure.
Well, yeah, and birds could take down a plane or a helicopter too, right?
They've
shit.
done it.
Oh.
Sully.
Sully.
He got
Yeah.
taken down by.
Birds are
Birds?
powerful.
Was-
Why are we not
geese?
afraid all the
Was
time?
Sully potentially the first? Was Sully and his passengers potentially the first victims of the bird war? But he saved,
But he saved them.
Yeah.
and now we're back to the Cold War.
Yeah. When I told my 8-year-old the premise of the movie I was watching tonight, he said you would need a flamethrower to defeat all the birds. And
Oh.
I
think
mean,
that's
not
pretty
bad.
Pretty
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Not bad.
awful.
Ugh. Then you
But-
just got a bunch of birds on fire pecking at you.
Might smell pretty good though.
Yeah. You try
Just
fried chicken. We bet a lot of birds that would be in this movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how we did.
Yeah.
Gulls, crows,
Hell
nailed
yes.
it. Parakeet, maybe.
I love birds. A type of parakeet.
They look like a parakeet,
Yeah.
but I don't
Oh,
know.
by the way, Kathy wants to take the lovebirds with her constantly.
yeah.
And that was the other thing that I kept on being like, no.
But they didn't
you
harm
idiot.
anyone,
Yes,
Beth.
but they Oh my!
They did act
Can
weird
you-
earlier.
They did act weird.
Listen, I
What is
feel
she
like
thinking? What are they thinking at all?
well, she's traumatized, and maybe she needs to feel like there's some hope that not
Yeah.
all birds are bad.
Kathy represents appeasement.
Appeasement. And I loved, like, Dan, I think you nailed it for the
absolutely,
reasoning
yes.
why Mitch was like, sure.
Yeah. So for context,
Yeah.
Melanie has gotten like just her shit rocked by a flock of birds that had managed to pierce the veil of their poorly boarded up house.
Yeah.
And you think she's dead at first.
Yeah, I thought
Honestly.
she's dead.
And then Mitch manages to pull her out. She's like completely catatonic practically.
Yeah.
He gets the car, rolls it up to the like silent sentinels of crows and the carpet of gulls that just hang out, and like gets his mother and Melanie into the car. And then Kathy is like standing at the door, and he's like, come on. And then she's like, can I take the lovebirds? They didn't harm anyone. And he just goes, okay, let's go. Dan?
Yeah, and it's just that moment as a parent where you have to agree to the dumb thing just to get out the door, just to progress with whatever you're trying to do. Like,
I can't tell you how many things
Okay.
I've been like, yeah, bring it to the car.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
like I just need to kick this can down the road. You'll lose
Yeah.
interest before we get there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a gigantic toy that makes no sense. Yeah, let's bring it in the car. Definitely. Just get in the car.
Yeah. And there weren't even violent birds for those scenarios.
No, they're
Who knows what you'd let your kids bring in the car if they were
Honestly,
violent birds?
honestly, if I had to choose between violent birds or trying to convince my child to put on her shoes, like I would really have to think about it.
It's hard.
It is draining.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would only have to fight birds once, maybe 4 times. You know? But the shoes situation is like every day.
Yeah.
Every day. So that's multiple times a day.
Hey, it only gets worse in winter.
No,
Oh, buddy.
You know, there's coats and hats and scarves.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, so good on them. Good on Mitch. Way to know a fight you can't win.
Yeah, Mitch is doing it. I
He's
like
trying his
Mitch.
best.
Yeah.
He gets his hand pecked like
Oh.
Yeah.
but I appreciate he never gave up. Like he never gave up on like figuring stuff out. He had to muster a lot of courage to walk through that carpet of birds.
Yep.
Yep.
And he pulled Tippy through that door.
Yep.
Sorry, and by Tippy I mean
Melanie Daniels.
Melanie Daniels. Ms. Daniels.
Miss Daniels.
She's Miss Daniels for the whole first half of the movie and Melanie for the second half. Did they bang?
Did they bang?
Oh.
Did they bang?
She stays overnight.
Did they bang?
Oh, sorry, I forgot the theme
Yeah.
song.
And then inexplicably, they're like smooching hard.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She stays overnight at the farmhouse after they've shared a mutually traumatic situation.
Okay. You think?
And then the next time we see them together, she's like, darling, she's got her hands on his torso.
so you think
He
just
pulls
like
her in for a kiss.
just like at the end of the movie, maybe a little pecker got in.
Oh, my God.
No, Beth,
All right.
cut that out.
No,
Yep.
keep that in.
No one is-
This is the
Literally,
no.
the
Literally
worst
no
joke
one
I've
is-
We have to leave this in because this helps you understand why we get so mad at him.
Yeah, people probably just think we're mean.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Here's the thing. I agree that the relationship takes a turn, which would
Yep.
suggest banging. But I also feel like Lydia, the mother, is basically like a predatory cat
Yeah.
who is always like just sitting up in the corner somewhere with their ears perched.
Yeah.
You don't think a son who grew up in that environment
Ooh,
hasn't
that's true.
figured out a trip to the barn?
Little roll in the hay.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's a quick turn.
I'm saying plausible,
Okay.
but I'm not going to go all the way to for sure. Yes.
And I'm not rooting for one situation or another. It just is kind of like, I'm like, is this movie speak for,
It could be.
Maybe. I don't know. That kiss felt like a first kiss.
ooh,
It was
Interesting.
very,
Like they were so excited about it.
yeah, very
That's
intense
fair.
and
Okay,
passionate.
okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other birds, Dan?
Just
Oh,
got the,
sparrows?
Yes.
Goose? No. No,
No.
big
No
birds at all,
geese.
really.
No.
No, because
That'd be-
everyone would be dead.
Yeah.
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 Also,
Mockingjay,
people don't want to
blue
hang
jay.
out with turkeys on set.
Nah, dog.
They'll
No.
throw a sparrow at you, but they're not going to throw a turkey.
No way.
Yeah. That's all we bet. But there's also minor birds, lovebirds, strawberry finches, canaries.
Ooh.
I got kind of overwhelmed in the bird shop.
There's
Yeah.
a toucan.
Oh, yeah.
Toucan.
And a monkey.
One of those white birds with the fluff on the head. They're kind of
Cockatoo?
pretty.
Oh, a macaw?
Yes, cockatoo.
Cockatoo.
Cockatoos are just like the bird that flies around in Australia.
Oh, really?
and parakeets.
Oh,
Neat.
They're everywhere.
they
It's
live
awesome.
a long time, right?
I think so.
A lot of
think
these
so,
birds
yeah.
live to be 80.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of the parrot types for sure
I
in
can't believe
captivity.
people would get a
live-
pet that lives that long.
It's wild.
Because
You
you're
got to
gonna have
pass that bird on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and her whole point behind getting a bird for her aunt
Yeah.
was that her aunt was prim and proper and she was going to teach the bird bad words. I'm just saying, like, there is so much of a morality.
merry prankster.
Because I think I did bet there was a morality tale.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be about sex, but it's not.
No.
It's about mischief.
Aha.
Oh.
And that her dedication to mischief and potentially the evil that she brings.
Brought the birds
Yeah.
to town.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, she did theoretically, she did perhaps desecrate a holy site in Rome when she ran around nude.
Yeah.
We don't know which fountain she fell in.
Oh.
Yeah. There is a moment where her character does kind of develop. She gets defensive about Rome
And her mother.
and her mother. And she's sort of, you can see her striving to be an adult person.
Yeah. And there's this incredible moment right at the end of the movie where like her and Lydia have bonded and like Lydia is sort of taking a motherly role in her care.
And in some ways more motherly than she is towards her own children.
Totally.
Yeah.
This movie, between bird attacks, this movie gets real as hell.
Yep.
There's a lot of real talk in between bird horror.
Yep.
You know, yeah, never mind. I was just thinking like the bird poop alone would just be
Think
just
about
be a
it.
lot.
Just
Is that a question?
It's a great segue into
Oh, is it?
A certain segment we like to do before we get to our final reviews of the movie we just watched, The Birds. We turn to Discord, our text-based chat platform.
full of bird poop. Is that the segue?
Taylor History,
Oh,
parenthetical Steve, asks, just how terrifying are birds? I'm mostly afraid of them pooping on me.
I mean, that many birds, for sure, the poop would be a factor
I
of
feel like
terror.
it would be the least of your problems.
Probably, yes.
But it would be a problem.
It would definitely be a problem.
The haunting, piercing, screeching,
Oof.
and the pecking.
Yeah. The screeching in this movie is not a bird.
Yeah, it
What
is
it
a
is.
strange noise. Like Beth, I think, alluded many times that it sounded kind of like a DJ scratch.
Oh, no. Dan was DJing over in the corner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it sounded. Sometimes it sounded like a cat in distress.
Yeah.
It's just a very distressing.
Maybe that's why
sound.
your cat was so
Yeah.
bothered by it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my cat did not like this movie. His ears were going all over the place.
At one point, he just jumped up and walked in front of the TV, seemingly so that we would stop paying attention
He's like,
to it.
Stop watching this.
At another point, he made a very clear point of sitting on the coffee table in front of all of us, turned away from the television.
Yeah, there were statements.
There were
Yeah.
definitely statements. Here's the thing, though. If you get cut up by all those birds and covered in bird shit, that is an
Oh.
infection problem waiting to
I
happen.
didn't even think about
You
that.
got to get to the hospital in Santa
Right,
Rosa.
quick.
Yeah. I think, again, it depends on the size of the bird.
Oh, sure.
Like, some birds have
So much better.
giant talons
Yes.
that could
Ooh, I didn't
mess
think
you
about the
up.
talons.
Some birds have giant shits, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can you? This is why they didn't bring any geese in.
yeah.
Because there would
Goose
actually,
shit,
like, it'd be a real problem on set.
Yeah.
There'd be so much goose shit to deal with on set.
And you know, we are in the land of 10,000 lakes. They're actually more, no big deal. And the lake water is beautiful and
yes.
clear.
Yes.
but
Sometimes.
Those geese poop all over the place.
Everywhere.
There is just not a what you can be on the beach, and sometimes it's nice, and sometimes it's just goose poop.
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
Did we answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Benvis comments and inquires,
Ooh.
more time separates Cryolophosaurus than from Tyrannosaurus than separates Tyrannosaurus from seagulls.
Whoa.
Given that birds are dinosaurs, is it fair to consider this a spiritual prequel to Jurassic Park?
Absolutely. I say
I
absolutely.
think it's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like kind of the same. It's the same dynamic, at least, right? Because there's like people who are right away like, this is pretty crazy. We should do something about it. And everyone's be like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Just go to the diner and get your cigarettes and spend your money.
Nobody said hold on to their butts.
True.
It's true.
And
They
George
stopped
Goldblum was not in the movie,
Yep.
and
No
shirts were
Beloved
never
actor
unbuttoned.
George Goldblum.
Yeah.
Did I say George?
Yeah. I say yes. Spiritual prequel
Yeah.
for sure.
Fair.
Yeah. Carzon asks, how much do modern horror movie masters like John Carpenter and Guillermo del Toro owe specifically to The Birds? Please also keep track of how many bits also Dan makes about the podcast being for the birds.
I've mostly just said Boyd's, I think. Yeah. I definitely, this is neither of those directors, but like the whole time watching this, I actually was like, when did Night of the Living Dead come out? Because this is so similar in tone, where it is just this like slow burn of like just this unsettling, almost natural occurrence that has this like twist to it. And it came out only, I think, 4 or 5 years after this. So I imagine it was heavily influenced by the birds.
Especially when they're boarded up in the house. It's big zombie movie energy.
When those beaks start pecking through the door, that really felt like.
Or even when they're looking out the diner window and the gas station guy gets attacked, right? It's like they see the one bird, they're like, oh wow, oh no, and then they try to go help him. Then suddenly there's all these birds coming from everywhere.
Yeah,
felt very zombie movie.
Yeah, and some of the bits were just really effective of just seeing how battered the door was when they were walking through the temporarily calm flock of birds.
When he first goes outside, just that quick shot of the outside of the front door was fucking terrifying.
Yeah. I will say I cannot speak with any sort of confidence to that question because I don't enjoy scary movies and don't watch them.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of them, but the ones I have, similar vibe.
Think about like The Thing. Right? Like that's kind of a similar, like that kind of has similar tone to some extent too, where they're just stuck somewhere. They know something horrible's happening and they just kind of have to try their best.
And there's a flamethrower.
Hey!
That's what they end up using.
Yep.
Maybe John Carpenter watched this, was like, why don't they use a flamethrower? And then he's like, ha.
The Reference Machine asks, there are a lot of animal swarm horror movies, including people if you count zombie movies. What animal would you least want to swarm and come after you?
I think I'd be most terrified of raccoons.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Because they're smart and they've got those hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do eat, and then...
People?
No, but are they omnivores? Don't they eat?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
They eat all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so...
Have you seen that? Have you seen that footage of that family that just like feeds a colony of raccoons that live under their deck, and it looks like a little zombie movie because they're like pouring feed down between the slats, and it's just all these little hands where like
come up.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Don't do that.
Have you seen the video
possums.
of the raccoon trying to rinse off cotton candy in a river?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
It like takes it down and rinses it off,
it's
and
so
then
proud.
disappears.
It's so
and it's
proud of its clump.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What happened?
The best raccoon video is still the one where it's like a couple of dogs eating outside. A raccoon comes up. The dogs just look confused. The raccoon just like scoops up a bunch of kibble in its little front paws and then tiptoes away on its hind legs with its bounty. And the dogs just sort of like follow it with its eyes like, huh.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
I think I would not want to be swarmed by cats because they're like agile and they got claws and they can get you, but
they're
also
unpredictable.
I love cats, and so I got to fight these animals, right?
Oh.
Do you have to? Maybe they're
To
just
survive,
there to
maybe?
snuggle.
No, it's a swarm.
It's a swarm.
I guess it could be a snuggle
Do
swarm.
swarms have to be aggressive?
Listen, if it were a cuddle pile, that would be different. But this is a swarm.
Snuggle swarm.
I believe the spirit of this question is they're trying to kill you.
Okay. Well, mine would be bees.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what are those fucking, those just like, I don't know. Like those giant spiders that live in Australia?
Oh, no, it's spiders.
Huntsmans or whatever they're called?
Yeah.
Even like the crab parade is really unsettling. Like I know they're just like going to the sea or whatever, but like when you look at it, it's just like your brain is just like, no.
Yeah.
Telling you any large number of the same animal is creepy.
It's creepy for sure.
Like too many cats eating dinner is like I grew up at one point, our cat population ballooned to 4 cats, and there was a good reason for all of them. They weren't all permanent, whatever. And you didn't feel like too many cats until it was feeding time.
Mm-hmm.
You see 4 cats lined up at dishes. It's like, that's a lot. And then you multiply that by 20.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of like cows, right? So like a cattle
I'd
ranch.
be swarmed by a cow.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is
That would be great. What are they going to do?
crush you.
Crush you, they're giant.
I was saying,
but at least it'd be fast.
But like I was just thinking like with cattle, with like ranches, right? Like there is, I mean, it's very common to just see like a massive amount of cows in one place.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think like, okay, so that's like kind of, we've been desensitized to that. But then I thought like, okay, what if all that same number of cows was in one place, but they were all looking right at me in silence?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Or they're not looking at you, and then they all look over.
Oh yeah, like they all turn, yeah. Or like they're all eating, and then they all bring their heads up and look at you.
Yeah.
And you're covered in feed.
Oh no! If I had a tennis racket, I'd be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
40 for
take
sure.
40 cows, yeah. I think if I had to pick a swarm, it would be like giant tortoises.
Oh,
sure.
So I feel like I wouldn't want them to be small. They're too sneaky.
As long as they didn't get too close to you, yeah.
And feel like I could get
Because
away.
they could definitely like bite your toe off, but as long as they don't get too close, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
But you have to like walk over them to get away.
Ooh, that's true. That might be weird.
Yeah.
Ugh, crunchy. I don't like it.
I was thinking about kittens. They're so
How
cute.
many though?
They are so cute, but they have those little needle teeth.
Yeah. You're
And those little like super sharp little
I don't want
claws.
to whack them with a tennis racket.
What if they
They'll
have?
like claw you
I'm
just
not
out
gonna
of
fight
affection.
the kittens.
Okay,
We're gonna cuddle. It's a cuddle swarm.
Cuddle swarm. Okay.
All right. Well, good luck.
I'll allow
with, I wish good luck to your immune system.
All right. B has a comment, not question.
Okay.
Alfred Hitchcock is a far worse antagonist and villain, especially for Tippi Hedren, than
Yep.
any amount of birds could ever be.
Yep.
Death to using auteur theory as an excuse for being an utter bastard.
Yes.
Totally.
I'm not surprised to hear this, but I don't know
Oh,
to
Beth
what it refers.
does.
Yeah, he was really awful to her on set, to Tippi Hedren on set.
Should try to like quote get a reaction out of her.
Yeah, so like essentially he was very controlling of her career.
Oh.
And so anytime she had any issue, he would threaten like you're never going to work again if you don't do this thing.
Blah.
And there was a lot of sexual advances.
Yeah.
And then in that scene the final scene where she is being attacked by the birds in the attic.
Yes.
That was filmed over 5 days.
Ooh.
They actually were throwing real birds at her and would tie the birds to her.
Oh.
And
Barefoot.
she, over the 5 days, was becoming more and more exhausted and like not doing well.
Uh-huh.
And at one point she like literally collapsed and like started crying and everybody just kind of left her. And she had to be seen by a doctor
Yikes.
afterward. So like when incredible acting.
Yeah.
But she probably is actually kind of feeling that way in that
Yeah.
scene.
Yikes.
So yeah, it sucks to hear that.
Yeah, it does.
She was
'Cause-
promised they would be like mechanical
Yes,
birds
yeah.
too. And they were not.
And then she showed up and they're like, the mechanical birds are broken. And she was like, they had built this whole like thing to keep the birds inside that room. And she's like, they never were going to use mechanical birds. They just told me that.
Uh-huh.
So it sucks because I like the movie.
Yeah. And she's incredible.
Yeah, she's so good.
Yeah.
So
Yikes.
yes, he is a villain.
Yes.
he is.
And also his broader point of like using auteur theory as like, oh, it's, it's the vision of the genius or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you don't have to be a dick about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I said this before on the podcast, but like, it's always horrifying when you hear stories of like people telling like story, like especially when actors die or something, like where it's like a novelty that they were really nice to the crew and like bothered to like treat them like human beings. Like those are the stories that people tell. And it's just like, it's weird that that's novel enough where they feel like this is a great story about this person that'll like really help you understand who they are.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to forget too how much power the studios and like one director could have. Like I don't think
Especially
it's been
back
matched
then. Yeah.
since Miramax, right? Since the Weinstein brothers.
maybe not.
Like
At least not in America.
yeah, like to wield that much power over someone's career.
Yeah.
And then he forced her to do another movie after this, and that's the one where I think their relationship completely eroded and he never worked with her again and she didn't do much more in movies.
Yeah.
Like
Rough.
that was a pretty real threat.
Gross.
But interestingly enough, she became an advocate for animals.
Oh,
She got married like 4 times.
nice. Get it,
One
girl.
of her husbands, they worked for 17 years on a film called like Big Roar. I think. Sorry.
Great. Big
I was
roar.
watching the movie. And it was because they started collecting like rare animals on their property. And they made a movie featuring these animals, and then she became a big animal rights person and advocate.
Great.
Which is really saying for something for someone who's been attacked by birds, like literally.
Yep.
Totally.
Well, anyway, agreed.
Yeah.
Is that the last comment?
B finished with a question that
Okay.
asked, what is the scariest living bird?
Ooh.
Emu?
Oh, emu.
Shoebill.
You think emu?
Yes, I can tell you from personal experience. When I was in college, I went to school for journalism, and one of my peers was doing a story on this farm. I can't remember if it was in Wisconsin or Minnesota, but they have kangaroo and emu on the farm. And so I was like, I'd like to go see a bunch of kangaroo and emu.
Yes.
And
Of
so
course.
we went there, and the whole time the emu was following me around and kept pecking my video camera. And so I do have a picture of an emu pecking at me in my video camera. Their feet
They're biggins.
are so big.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like dinosaurs. They're like literally dinosaurs, and they have huge beaks, and they're as tall as you are. They would definitely take you. You could not take one on with a tennis racket.
I was going to say, even with a tennis racket, I don't think I would take an emu or an ostrich.
And I've also like, I went to Australia.
No big deal.
No big deal. Bill's Beach. I also did go to Bill's Beach.
Nice.
But at one of the zoos, they had just like an emu walking around, and it was like kind of stepping up to us. It felt like. And it was like, I'm going to just go over here. I don't know. Anyway, they're terrifying. I think they're the scariest just because they're so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoebills.
But they're not like
You shoebill?
necessarily.
my
What's a shoe bill?
Shoebills are
yeah.
also
Bill
very
looks like a
tall
shoe.
birds who have like massive, like they straight up look like a dinosaur because they're like, their beaks are huge. They have like these very large piercing eyes, and like supposedly, like even the ones in captivity, like you have to approach them in a very specific way to like pacify them. Otherwise they'll be like super pissed that you're like stepping up to them.
Ooh, like a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's footage of people like coming at them and sort of like essentially bowing to them. And the bird kind of bows back, and they both kind of like sway in this specific way. And then after that, the bird's like fine with you being that close.
Wow, that's cool.
They're fucking crazy looking.
Wow.
And like they just
They look like pterodactyls.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine the trial and error?
to figure that out. I know.
Yeah.
Yowza.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very scary. If I hadn't thought of emu, I probably would have said crows just because I have such a long memory.
Yeah. If I didn't know how big this one kind of bird is that I don't remember what they're called, I would say that bird, but they're not that big, but they have like the scariest face in the world. Like they have these like it almost looks like they have lips, like it's like this stretched out face and this tiny beak and these gigantic eyes.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they're called, but they're
Owls
terrifying.
are kind of terrifying too.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially
they're
if you've seen their
cool,
legs.
But oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, they got those long legs.
Yeah.
Which you don't think about because you're so focused on like their big chests and their
Yeah.
heads.
Yeah. There's some weird raptor that's got like a real spiky hair and super long, thin legs that it uses to catch snakes.
Oh,
Snakes with.
Cool.
Yeah.
that's BA and awful.
They did some study where they figured out that like they just had a bunch of birds like fly from one place to another, and they had like mics along the entire path, and they realized that like one of the reasons owls are such good hunters is they're almost completely silent
Yeah.
when they fly.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifying,
I
but
still
also
like-
so
I-
cool.
I think birds
Awesome.
are still cool.
I do too,
I love birds.
but they're terrifying also.
Got a bird shirt on.
Hey,
Cheer up nature. What was it she
oh
said?
yeah, they bring beauty.
Beauty.
And blah blah blah.
They do.
They
And
do, for sure.
bird song.
Those documentaries with those dancing birds.
Oh,
They show
yeah.
off all their moves and
I've always
colors.
liked the chickadee because it's just so plump and cute, and it
Yeah.
stays.
What?
Other birds fly
Oh,
away.
I thought you meant
but
like
the
when you tell a
chickadee-
dog to stay.
No,
Like, wow, you can
chickadees
do
are
that?
here through the winter. So when I first moved to Minnesota, I got a license plate with a chickadee on it. Don't dox me. I don't have that license plate anymore.
Yeah.
But it was, but I got the chickadee as like okay, if the chickadee can hang through this winter, this Georgia girl can too.
Nice. Did you also puff up real big during
Puffed
the
up
winter?
real big. Yeah, I really
Gotta do
did.
Gotta do it.
Nothing's
do it.
nothing's great for weight gain like moving to a very cold climate with a lot of carbs.
Well, thank you to everybody who cued or seed. our rating scale, as we all remember, is Angry Boyds,
Of course.
which is they're a bunch of ladybirds.
Well, I mean, if we're going from the way Kathy describes them, they are man and woman birds. So these are woman birds.
They're woman birds.
Yeah.
Who are also gangsters.
Yes. They wear cool hats.
They wear cool hats.
Like Rihanna.
Like Rihanna, the Fenty.
Nope. We're not going back.
Wow. That's about it.
Right?
Yeah.
They just they don't take no guff.
They don't take no guff.
Would you say?
They talking cool Goodfellas
Nice.
voices. Dan, are you so tired?
Gabagoo. I am. Let's go.
I'm pretty tired.
Dove.
Gabagoo.
Goodfellas.
Worth it.
Dan, you're first, as we all know.
Yeah, I am.
You gave it a 4. You thought it was a classic Hitchcock, but there would probably be more exposition than needed, and maybe it would drag.
It did not. There was more exposition than I was expecting, but it did not drag. It was like a compelling. It was like a very compelling play that was broken up by bird horror. That I found it very it was just compelling to learn about these people. It was acted so well, and then the bird horror was way more intense and incredibly paced and edited and shot than I remembered. I thought it was super cool. I'm saying 5 Angry Boyds.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
Beth, you're second. You gave it a 3. Probably good tension.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That scene where they're just walking through all the birds standing there. Terrifying. Yeah, I'm not going to ignore the fact that it was not pleasant on set for the actors. That is bad, but I am going to rate it based on how the movie itself. I give 0 stars.
Yes.
Or whatever. Lots of angry boys actually sent at Alfred Hitchcock.
Nice.
But the movie itself, I thought was really compelling and it was great. So I'm going to say 5.
Wow.
Woo! I gave 3.5, and my only note is Greta Gerwig. I don't know if that even really factored in, or if I just
because we said Lady Boyd, and then we were talking about the movie Lady Bird, and you said Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
And we probably got mad at you, checked the tapes.
Yep. I liked it. Yeah, it was. I think Dan nailed how I feel as well. It was like a compelling play with weird bird horror in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go up to 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Okay.
Molly, you said 4, and you liked it. Fun atmosphere, not a thrill. Second time, inventor art.
Great
my
notes. Great
God.
notes. You know what? Speaking of notes, I just looked at mine for the first time, and I forgot I took notes during Dan's pre-call.
Oh.
100% Utah. We'll just review very quickly. Family, husband and wife.
No.
They're at home cooking bacon. And then they realize, hey, crows are staring at us. And then the man's like, gotta go to work, got a big office. But then things get weird. Yeah. And the wife is fighting roosters. Ooh. There's an eagle. There's a scientist on the radio. The end.
100%.
So pretty accurate.
I mean,
there are elements.
Yeah.
There is kind of
the flavors there.
Yeah.
The
general shape.
It's a man, his stalker, and his sister.
Yeah, same dynamic for sure.
And his mom.
Yeah.
Classic
There is
American
a radio,
family.
There's a radio.
Lots
There's
of radio.
crows.
Yeah, there are crows.
There are crows.
There's
There's implied chickens.
Implied
chicken.
bacon. They were eating something.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, there was a diner.
Yeah.
Someone who's eating bacon.
They serve bacon there
For sure.
Bloody Marys.
They
wonder.
serve bacon, whiskey, and cigarettes. And that's it.
Yeah.
And then the kids' meal.
You're scaring my children.
100% Utah.
Nailed it.
Yep. Great job. Yes, I think what I had said at the beginning is that I'd seen it 2 times. The first time I really liked it. The second time I didn't. And so I thought the third time I would. I feel like the second time I saw it was unfair because I was sitting outdoors in a very distracted environment. So I don't think I really took in a lot because so much of this movie was a total surprise to the point where I was like, oh no, have I actually not seen this movie? But I have. There were enough key moments that were not like DVD moments. I was like, okay, great. I have seen it. And the exposition, which I thought was going to be draggy, was delightful. I really enjoyed it. 5 Angry Birds.
Weeds.
Wow.
Oh, and 0, like -1 million
Yeah.
for Alfred Hitchcock
Sure.
himself.
Yeah.
Agree.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he dies.
He's already dead. He's long dead.
Oh, okay.
So you won.
I got my wish.
Hey!
Oh.
When you wish upon a boy, you can
wish upon
the
a
death
boy.
of a director from many years ago, whenever he actually died.
Caw.
Totes Recall is hosted by Molly Chase, Beth Gibbs, Dan Jaquette, and Dan Linden. Produced by Beth Gibbs. New episodes of Totes Recall drop on the 15th of every month. For more information and bonus content, visit us at totesrecall.com. Thank you so much for listening.